Road trip to Cleveland next Sunday. From the Sports Desk, I'm Doug Downs.
This is Phil Martinez from Phil's Coins. Christmas rounds and 2018 Silver Proof sets are now available at Phil's Coins. Gifting items that will be forever remembered as being from you, and gifts with the opportunity to increase in value over time. Here at Phil's, we also have many hard-to-find birth-year proof sets. And for your loved ones out of town or out of state, free shipping on orders over $100 and just $5 for shipping of lesser orders. Phil's Coins, 9344 West Central.
Croft Lumber of Heston. Project expertise from start to finish. At Croft Lumber, you'll experience big box store selection with Heston owned and operated, pride in serving you, the customer. Quality Anderson and Marvin windows, Anderson and Larson storm doors, the full line of custom kitchen cabinetry from R.D. Henry and Company. And Croft Lumber has the full Milwaukee tool line. Croft Lumber, where service is their specialty and delivery within a 50-mile radius is absolutely free. Croft Lumber of Heston.
Autotech Service and Audio is a new and exciting service center that has joined the Autocraft family. We provide service like no other service centers in Wichita. We are home of the $24 oil change and provide you with not only the lowest prices in town, but also certified mechanics that care about the service and safety of your vehicle. We also have a state-of-the-art audio selection to fit everyone's needs. Stop by and see us today at 4411 West Central Avenue or call Doug at 942-0707. Come check us out today.
Hi, I'm Shannon Stiles, owner of Legacy Advisors, an all-state insurance company that will protect you and your family and provide you coverage that will fit your insurance needs. So when you go to bed at night, you can rest assured that we have your back. If something unfortunate should ever happen to you or your family, we are a local insurance company right here in Wichita, and we ask that you call us today at 316-773-9864, and we will provide you with a free quote. Come join the Legacy Advisors insurance family today at 316-773-9864. You'll be glad you did.
Plan ahead for a comfortable and safe winter by contacting Propane Central today. They'll conduct a free comprehensive check of your gas system and fill your tank and set you up with the payment and delivery options that meet your needs. Experience worry-free propane only from Propane Central. Give them a call at 316-744-6722. Again, that's 316-744-6722, or visit their website at propanecentral.com. Propane Central, the best value in propane.
Here's the latest from the KQAM News Center.
Indonesian rescue officials say they're not expecting survivors from the crash of a brand new Lion Air 737 carrying 189 people into seas near Jakarta. Will Ripley reports the plane went down shortly after takeoff.
There were thunderstorms in the area, but they were a safe distance from the aircraft. They were not in the immediate vicinity where the plane is believed to have gone down. So this really only adds to the mystery of things.
Federal prosecutors want to seek the death penalty against Robert Gregory Bowers, accused of killing 11 people and wounding 6 at a Pittsburgh synagogue Saturday. They and Bowers will be in court this morning. A new migrant caravan, about 300 people from El Salvador, has set out heading north toward the U.S. border. Investors are nervously watching pre-market trading on Wall Street this morning. Following last week's tumultuous trading, stock futures are currently up slightly. And the Boston Red Sox beat the Los Angeles Dodgers 5-1 last night in Game 5 to win their 4th World Series title since 2004. I'm Michael Toscano.
Your local weather on KQAM. Brought to you by Hatman Jacks. Amazing headwear for women and men. At the Clock Tower in Delano, Hatman Jacks.
Here's your latest forecast on the Big Talker KQAM for this morning. Patchy fog, otherwise mostly cloudy but gradually clearing, a high near 68. Winds gusting up to 25 miles an hour this afternoon. Mostly clear and 45 for tonight. Sunny and clear tomorrow, 75 and 49 the extremes. I'm Amp Harrell, and that's your latest forecast on Wichita's big station, the Big Talker, AM 1480 and 102.5 FM KQAM.
Broadcasting from the Rusty Eck Ford Studios, this is the Big Talker, 1480 AM and 102.5 FM KQAM. It's time for Reason.
They want the endorsements because they don't want to look as radical as what they actually are. And the Republicans that are endorsing them, they are showing not as a member of the Republican Party, but as an individual who is so desperate to fit in with the fads, with the trends. It's the retro thing to do, man.
And I'm the Republican that supports the Democrat who hates the Republican agenda. This is the latest campaign because they can't win any other way.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
Then I'll get on my knees and pray. We don't get fooled again. Don't get fooled again. No.
You have the power with your vote to defend your family, your community, your country, and everything we hold sacred and righteous and true. Loyal citizens like you help build this country, and together we are taking back our country, returning power to everyday great American patriots.
You know what's really exciting is that we are officially 1 week away from Election Day, and that should be something to be proud of as we start off a brand new day. Welcome into the Voice of Reason. Great to have you along today. It is a Monday morning. Yeah, that's right. We're setting the tone today. We're getting you pumped up, not for today, but for the entire week, for Election Week. This is where it comes down to. This is where the shenanigans begin, and we're going to have some fun.
Let's get it started. Let's get it started in here. Let's get it started. Let's get it started in here. Let's get it started. Let's get it started in here. Let's get it started. Let's get it started.
Oh, yeah, baby. Welcome in. 316-721-8255. 316-721-TALK. If you want to join into the program, we'd love to hear from you today as we get ready for midterm election 2018. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling pumped. I'm feeling ready to go. I am excited. The exhilaration, the energy that I am feeling from individuals all around the community getting ready for this midterm. I got a call from my parents over the weekend, and I've told you before that my parents are not necessarily political. They don't watch the news. They get frustrated about things, and they just don't want to deal with it. They got their lives to go about. They have work to do. They're working on the house, and they go to work, and they go do their thing, and they're just enjoying, because that's what normal people do. Most people, look, if we sink our head into politics 110% all day long, you're kind of nuts. Now, I enjoy that because I admit that I'm kind of nuts. But a lot of people just like, I'm out, I can't do it, I can't deal with this, I need to go out and do my own thing, and whatever. And my parents admitted, my dad talked to me over the weekend, and he said, Andy, he's like, I've never voted in a midterm election. Never thought I needed to. I'd show up for the presidential ones, show up for the big elections, that's about it. Never voted for a midterm. I'm so angry. This is him saying, I'm so angry of what these Democrats are doing and what I hear in the news, the little bit that I turn on. He's like, it is so important. I'm showing up and voting in the midterms this year. I'm showing up. I'm voting. And everybody that I've talked to at work, everybody that I've talked to with our neighbors and with our friends and with everybody, they're all going to vote. And the majority of these individuals are just the blue-collar factory workers in Ohio. They don't, they don't do a whole lot. They don't go out and vote. They're not necessarily politically active in any way, shape, or form. They don't do these things. We're showing up to vote because we understand this is really important. This is BS what the Democrats have been doing, the temper tantrums that have been thrown, the accusations that they try and do to stop Kavanaugh on the Supreme Court, the bitterness, the anger that's coming out of the left side of the aisle. We cannot allow them to have power. This is coming from my parents that are not necessarily politically engaged, that are not necessarily politically active. This is the mentality that I've heard from so many people, which is why I think the blue wave is an absolute joke. It's a self-fabrication from the media, and that we are going to win very largely come next week. Welcome in, 316-721-8255. We have a lot to get to today. I do want to touch on a lot of the midterm issues. We have some new news when it comes out, and I think it should be relatively important for us to take a look at. But I want to look at some of the campaign finances that's come in for the governor's race and where the money's coming from and who's supporting each one of the candidates. And maybe, just maybe, that might help us if you're still on the fence. Look, if you're still on the fence, then I'd say, what the heck? I mean, there's a very divisive difference between the candidates for governor right now. But if some are still on the fence, not quite sure who to support, who not to support, that sort of thing. If you're still on the fence, let's talk about the finances, shall we? Where the money's coming from, who's getting the money, and how much money they have as of right now, which is kind of interesting. So we'll do that in just a little bit. We have some new, we told you this was going to happen. We called it, we told it, it happened right here.
and this is going to be the first place that you're going to hear about it, is in the 2nd Congressional District, the open seat with Lynn Jenkins, Steve Watkins, the Republican candidate. We've talked about him many times. He's come on the show many times. It's finally come out. It is the last week of the final accusations, the big shebang, the big blow up of what people are trying to do, the big catch you off guard and try and get you. And there's a new, what is it? Oh, yeah, the same old the Democrats have been doing, the sexual harassment and allegations. Yeah. Where now there's accusations coming out against Steve Watkins, and we'll talk about that here. Is it legit? Is it true? Or is it just the ploy of the Democrats to try and abuse him right before the election to try and taint the name? Doesn't it get old eventually? Eventually, don't you just lose credibility if you continue to say that about every one of your opponents? And they do it in a different sly way each and every time. So we will talk about that in just a bit as well. But I don't know if you've seen it or not. I do want to, as we kind of recap some of the old discussions from last week, whether it's worth going down this road or not, whether you believe it or not, I'm not quite sure. I joined Armed American Radio a little bit on Friday, and we chatted about the pipe bomber and the suspect that was arrested and the DNA test that said that they actually proved that it was him, that he was making these pipe bombs in his van, and his van had a whole bunch of Donald Trump signs and stickers all over them, and although they looked nice and squeaky clean and brand new, it was a dirty van, nice brand new stickers. That was kind of weird. But I don't know. They said that he recently became a Trump supporter, or that he was a Trump supporter. He went to a couple of the rallies and held signs, but here's the thing, and that's what the media is focusing on, is that he was a Trump supporter. That's the biggest news to them. That's the most important thing that they could take away, is that he was a Trump supporter. Therefore, the Trump supporters are angry, they're bitter, they're dangerous, and they should not have power in any way, shape, or form, which is why they made this such a big media hype. They forgot to mention, of course, in the media, that he has a very long track record of prior allegations and prior crimes that he's committed. He's been in and out of mental institutions. He's been in and out of prison. He's been, he kind of went a little nuts for a really long time, and he went crazy. That's what he went. He was mentally not there the way that he should have been, and that led him to do something extreme. And we want him to be punished to the fullest extent. Now, what's really sad is that if he does plead criminal insanity, then he's not going to get the punishment that he necessarily needs to. But welcome to the lawyers of 2018 and to the modern times of where you can just plead criminal insanity, and then you can just say that you're crazy and not have to get punished for whatever you do. You get the write-off for the crimes that you committed, which is kind of interesting. But the media doesn't care about that. The media is not focusing on the fact that he was insane, that he'd been in and out of prison, that he kind of went nuts a little bit, and he lived in his van, and all these. They're not going to focus on that. They're focusing on the fact that he was a Trump supporter, right? That's all they want to care about. That's all they want to focus on. So it would make sense then that they would focus on this new shooting that happened over the weekend, another terrible, devastating shooting. We have to deal with this somehow. Now the media, what are they going to focus? I'm going to read the headline here. Now tell me what they're going to focus on, and tell me what they're not going to focus on, because why?
It's your Pinko Flaming Commie Corner.
Yeah, so let's just read it for a second here and just decipher. We're going to tell the media what the media is going to promote in this story, because we already know how they actually operate, right? So we can already guess it before it actually happens. Here's the headline from the Daily Mail. This is from the UK, so when the U.S. stories start picking it up, then we can see exactly how they're going to report this. I'm going in. Synagogue shooter, 46 years old, posted a chilling final message before the Trump-hating anti-Semite, quote, opened fire with an AR-15 on a baby naming ceremony, yelling, all Jews must die, killing 11 and injuring 6, including 4 cops. All right, read that headline. I'm going to read it again, and then tell me, just guess what the headlines are going to look like here in the U.S. and what the media is going to talk about as the talking heads continue to try and brainwash you each and every day on what?
It's your Pinko Flaming Commie Corner.
All right. Synagogue shooter suspect, 46 years old, posted chilling final message before the Trump-hating anti-Semite. There's one part of the story. Opened fire with an, AR-15. I know. Yeah. Opened fire with an AR-15 on a baby naming ceremony, yelling all Jews must die, killing 11 and injuring 6, including 4 cops. Here's how the media is going to report on it. It's not going to be about the Trump-hating anti-Semite, because that goes against the... See, only the right-wingers are the angry ones, like the pipe bomber that just sent fake bombs to all the Democrats just because he was very angry, whether it was fake bombs or whether it was bombs that just didn't detonate or whether they were just made terribly because he was nuts. But he was a Trump supporter, so we should focus on the fact that he was a Trump supporter. A non-Trump supporter, a Trump-hating anti-Semite, that's not going to be reported in the media. Nah, he was just a crazy guy. Although he did have what? An AR-15. So now we get to relive the whole argument about banning firearms and banning the AR-15 because the AR-15 was used in killing 11 and injuring 4 cops, or injuring 6, including 4 cops. The AR-15 should be the focus of the discussion, not the fact that it was an anti-Trumper. You see how the media works here? Now, the other guy, he may be crazy, may have had a long prior history of what he had done before, may have not been living in the best situation, may have been a little mentally unstable. Doesn't matter all that. He had Trump stickers on his window, showed up to a Trump rally before. He's a Trump supporter. Trump supporters and right-wingers are hateful, evil, bigoted human beings who hate everybody else because they're not white. This person, anti-Semite, hated Jews, hated Donald Trump. That doesn't matter. He had an AR-15. As long as we ban the AR-15, then everything's going to be fine. Now, we just told you exactly what you're going to hear for the next 2 days of the media. Now you just know exactly how the media is going to report this for the next few days, and you can save yourself the time by not even have to turn on the media. 316-721-8255. There it is, the way the media actually likes to portray things in today's times. And then they wonder, oh, why do you call us fake news? Yeah. Let's go to the phones. Line number 1. Good morning. What's your name?
This is Pete.
Hey, good morning, Pete. How are you?
I'm doing well. You know, in reference to the crazy bomber, you know, I guess they're calling him the MAGA bomber now.
Yes.
It was reported on Mark Levin's show on Friday evening that this guy was a convicted felon.
Yes.
So how could he even vote? How could he be registered to vote as a registered Republican if he's a convicted felon?
Well, come on. Don't you know the Democrats? They need convicted felons to vote, and they would hope that the majority of them would vote for Democrats because Democrats gave them the ability. They gave them the privilege to vote, and we need to have convicted felons and illegal immigrants, and we need to have everybody to vote because that's their right to do so. So you know what? We need to push for crazy people who are not mentally sane, who do not function in society together very well, to be able to have a say in our electoral process so they can be represented appropriately. What do you think? Come on.
Well, I think that, again, according to Levin, who knows a lot more about the law than most of us, you know, he's forgot more than most of us will know, that, you know, in order to get your voting rights back once you're a convicted felon in Florida, you have to appeal to this certain board, and that was not done in this case. So, again, his voting rights were taken from him. How he be registered as a Republican to vote?
Well, I don't know. I haven't heard any report that he was. I don't know. Maybe he was just a Trump supporter and was hoping that Trump got in and would show up to the rallies or supported him. But maybe he wasn't registered. Maybe he actually didn't vote. Maybe he was just a supporter that wasn't able to. I don't know.
It has been reported that he was a registered Republican.
A registered Republican. Very interesting. Well,
yes.
You know what? There's more. And again, I don't like putting on the tinfoil hat until we get the information, but more and more of the story just doesn't make sense or add up to me. Why?
No, and you, as you pointed out, the dirty old van with the brand new stickers on it, this looks like something that was staged.
I mean, I don't know. I don't like doing the conspiracy theory thing, but again, it was open. We were open to the idea that maybe it was staged before just to try and promote a political agenda going into the midterm election of trying to show that Trump supporters are hateful and angry and bitter and racist and everything else that they try and say that we are. And then this guy comes out, and then all of a sudden they find the picture. Like the one random picture we find of him is the one picture of him standing with a Trump supporting sign at a rally. And then, yeah, we see the pictures or the stickers that are on his window that are perfectly aligned and they're nice and squeaky clean. While it's like a dirty old creeper man bus that's, or a van that's sitting there on the side of the street. And I don't know. It's just a little weird to me. I don't get it.
Yeah, and, you know, where was law enforcement? Obviously, that guy's view out of his windows was obstructed. Where was law enforcement citing this guy for that? That thing was a rolling traffic violation.
In a very Democrat district. I don't know. I don't know. It's still weird to me. I'm not going to chalk it up to be a conspiracy yet, but I am going to say that there are some very interesting questions that have arisen out of that story. We're going to wait and see if anything else comes out of it, if a little bit deeper investigation comes out, or if we're just satisfied with, oh, there was an investigation, we found a guy, all said and done, case closed, and we're over with it. I don't know what else is going to come out of this, but it's going to be more, I'm focused more on the fact that what the media is reporting of, oh, he's a registered Republican, he's a Trump supporter, he's an angry, bitter individual. This story that's coming out about the synagogue shooting, where he ended up killing 11 people, injuring 6, including 4 cops there, that's not going to be about the fact that he hates Jews and that he hated Trump, because, that kind of coincides with the left-wing progressives anyways, but the fact that he had an AR-15, and therefore we should revisit the gun discussion on how we should start banning AR-15s.
Well, of course. And the press is going to bury, like you said, the guy, being a hateful anti-Semite who leans politically to the left. That's going to get buried. It always will. It always does. But, look who's doing the reporting.
And I don't hear anything about this one being a mentally unstable individual or someone who's been in prison before. So the other guy who has had a criminal record before, who is a felon, that doesn't matter that he was a little bit nuts and that he had already been an individual that's been on the cops' watch list to some degree. That doesn't matter. It's the fact that he's the Trump supporter. This one, who cares that he's not a Trump supporter and that he hates Trump and hates Jews, but he has no prior record of being nuts in the first place, at least that we know of right now. So it's just funky how they end up reporting all this. Sean or Pete, I appreciate it very much. Got some other calls on the line I want to take here in just a second. Got to take a break though. 23 minutes past the hour. This is why people are showing up to the midterms when they usually don't. This is why people like my parents, who called me over the weekend and said, we're going and voting. We've never voted in a midterm. We're voting this year. This is why people are doing it. Because they're sick and tired of the media. They're sick and tired of the anti-Trumpers. They're sick and tired of the Democrats getting away with what they have every single day. We're sick and tired of it. And it's not going to happen any longer. And that's why, baby, the red tsunami's rolling right along. We'll take some more phone calls when we come back here. 24 minutes past the hour. This is The Voice of Reason.
You're listening to the Voice of Reason on the Mid-America Network.
Ag News from Mid-America Ag Network. I'm Craig Mead. Good morning. Well, the Pork Checkoff is the source for market intelligence about key export opportunities. National Pork Board Vice President of International Marketing Craig Morris says a new program called Postcards from Abroad is now in place.
So we're going to do a better job in the future than maybe we've had in the past in putting down on paper some of those observations about what's going on in those markets real time to help inform not only producers in terms of what's going on with their dollars abroad and what's going on with demand for our products, but when we see opportunities, telegraphing that information back to the industry so that they can take advantage of those opportunities that we're seeing on the ground.
During a recent Pork Checkoff trade mission to Southeast Asia, the International Marketing Committee gained insight into consumer trends.
In Singapore, one of the largest manufacturers of bak kwan, which is a pork jerky product that's very popular there, about 12% of their sales were coming from U.S. Berkshire hogs. While we were there, they were actually unloading a load of product coming out of Minnesota that was U.S. commercial pork, talking a lot about one of the things that they liked best about U.S. pork was its consistency, was its leanness, was its outstanding packaging. Some of those observations we want to feed back. By contrast, when we got into Macau, one of the chefs said that we don't offer them some of the cuts that they can get from some of the other suppliers. A particular example that we got in Macau was a bone-in loin with the skin still on. It was a presentation that particular chef thought resonated well with his clientele.
Morris says the International Marketing Committee came home with insights into how to grow market share in those countries. Ag News, Mid-America Ag Network.
South Central Kansas mattress customers have confirmed what industry experts have said about Pure Talalay Bliss latex mattresses. And to find your piece of bliss in a good night's sleep, look no further than Derby Mattress at 105 South Baltimore in Derby. Pure Talalay Bliss latex mattresses outlast the memory foams, providing you with a very cool night's sleep. And right now at Derby Mattress, buy any Pure Talalay Bliss latex mattress and get a free basic adjustable base. Derby Mattress.
At First Council Casino and Hotel, it pays to cross the state line. Play all your favorite games. Stay for a while at our luxurious hotel. The biggest acts play at First Council. Make the short drive and see for yourself.
Grill and chill. On Fridays in October, win $500 every 30 minutes. Plus, win a grand prize backyard package.
Seven Clans First Council Casino and Hotel. It pays to cross the state line.
All right, welcome to F-150 Radio. Today, the new 2018 Ford F-150. It doesn't just raise the bar, it is the bar. Why? Eugene, go.
I think because Ford engineers always add new stuff, so the competition can't catch up.
Whoa, Eugene sounds like an expert.
Well, I got a store that sells exclusively bar-raising merchandise, like a calendar with an extra month.
An extra month?
Extrebuary. It has 32 days.
So you can appreciate the new 2018 F-150 raising the bar with available bliss with trailer coverage. It monitors your trucks and your trailer's blind spots.
How about our new bar-raising poker chips? You can play with them or eat them. So,
The new 2018 F-150 raises the bar with auto start-stop, standard on all engines, and an available 10-speed transmission.
We have sandals with available built-in socks.
And we are out of time.
Huge in Oregon.
This is the new 2018 Ford F-150. It doesn't just raise the bar, it is the bar.
Driver assist features like Bliss are supplemental and do not replace the driver's attention, judgment, and the need to control the vehicle.
28 minutes past the hour. Welcome back into the Voice of Reason. Let's sneak in another phone call before the bottom of the hour, shall we? Line number 2. Good morning. What's your name?
Did you know there isn't any audio on your television side?
There's no audio on the television right now. Well, that's really interesting. That is good to know. I'll have to look into that. Now, I see it through the window behind me. I see it. So at least the video's there, right?
Andy, the video is there, but I have 2 television sets on at the same time, so I checked both television sets, and no audio, just dead silence. So I thought you might like to know.
Very interesting. Well, I appreciate that very much, sir. We'll have to look into that just a little bit. Have a great Monday. 316-721-8255, 316-721-TALK. Looking into that one. By the way, if you do have trouble with any of the audio or any of the issues, you can always go to, of course, the radio. And we are on YouTube Live today. Jump on YouTube. I want to try and get some numbers up there a little bit. Let's boost it, baby. Share it all over the place. You can share the link of it on Facebook that we have. Share it onto your own page. Please do. We would love that very, very much. But go on there. Well, let's get a whole bunch of people viewing. Right now we got about 4 or 5 people jumping on. And that's, by the way, with people just kind of jumping on sporadically, checking it out for a few minutes, going to work, driving, getting to work and in the office and all that stuff. But let's get it up there. Let's get it up. Let's boost this baby because they're trying to silence us and censor us. Sound like Alex Jones right now, but they do, and they have been. So we're going to fight it. We're not going to allow them to bully us and push us around. It's an election time, and getting that message out is just a little bit important, isn't it? We love it. Appreciate it. Let's take a bottom-of-the-hour break. More phone calls when we come back. Plus, we'll shift gears, getting into elections right here in the state of Kansas. What do they look like going into the final week? It's going to be a fun time, isn't it?
Now back to the KQAM News Desk.
From Berlin this morning, German Chancellor Angela Merkel reportedly says this will be her final parliamentary term leading the country. She is also said to be ruling out running for a senior position at the European Union. Robert Gregory Bowers, taken into custody and charged in the shooting deaths of 11 people at a Pittsburgh synagogue over the weekend, expected in federal court today. Prosecutors will ask to seek the death penalty. Also due in court today, Cesar Sayoc, the Florida man arrested on charges of mailing at least 14 pipe bombs to critics of President Trump.
This is his first appearance stemming from 5 federal charges out of the Southern District of New York that includes the illegal mailing of explosives.
That's correspondent Rosa Flores, who tells us the case will move from Florida to New York. 189 passengers and crew thought killed this morning after a new 737 airliner crashed into the sea off Jakarta, Indonesia, shortly after takeoff. The Red Sox claimed the World Series championship, beating the LA Dodgers last night. I'm Michael Toscano.
Did you know carbon monoxide is odorless and invisible? Help ensure your family is protected from the dangers of carbon monoxide. CO alarms should be installed on every level and in every bedroom. And remember, alarms don't last forever, and it's important to replace them every 5 to 10 years. First Alert has been protecting homes and families since 1958 and encourages you to learn more about whole home safety at firstalert.com and visit Lowe's Home Improvement Stores to purchase carbon monoxide alarms today.
I'm Jay Farner, CEO of Quicken Loans, America's premier home purchase lender. We've created a new way to protect you from unpredictable interest rates. Our exclusive Rate Shield approval. First, we lock your interest rate for up to 90 days. Then, if rates go up, your rate stays locked. But if rates go down, your rate drops. Either way, you win. Call us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to rocketmortgage.com.
Rate Shield approval only valid on certain 30-year fixed-rate loans. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030. Additional conditions or exclusions may apply.
Kansas Mid-America Network News. Good Friday morning. Republican Chris Kobach has raised a migrant caravan moving north through Mexico as an issue in his campaign for Kansas governor, suggesting that lax state immigration policies are helping lure the caravan north. Kobach, the Kansas Secretary of State, is a strong ally of President Donald Trump and has made enacting state policies against illegal immigration a cornerstone of his gubernatorial campaign. Kobach made his comments last night during a debate. Authorities say a 70-year-old woman has died from injuries suffered in a Topeka apartment fire. The Topeka Capital-Journal reports fire officials announced the death of Catherine Bushy in a news release yesterday. She was injured early Wednesday in a fire that officials are blaming on improper disposal of smoking materials. Kansas News on the Mid-America Network. I'm Rick Everett.
Spears Restaurant and Pie Shop, northeast corner of Town West Mall on Maple Street, is all about breakfast. Weekend breakfasts at Spears are especially special. Everyone loves an all-you-can-eat breakfast buffet with eggs, bacon, sausage, fresh fruit, muffins, all the fixins, all you can eat, and it's only $7.99. The Sunday all-you-can-eat brunch buffet at Spears sets the mark for family-style meals. Join us Sundays 10:30 to 2 o'clock. Fried chicken, carved roast, all the sides, salads, and of course Spears' famous pies. Let the Spears family serve your family.
If you wear eyeglasses or just getting your first pair, did you know there's an eyewear shop that has 45 years of experience? Kenton Roxy Spectacle Shop has been framing faces for over 4 decades. The Spectacle Shop has hundreds of frames, including the exciting exclusive lines of Woo, Roger, and LA Eyeworks, and the State brand made right here in the USA. Your lenses? Kenton Roxy takes seriously the quality and precision of your corrected eyesight. Be independent, take a bold step for optical freedom. Come see the difference for yourself. Visit Kenton Roxy Spectacle Shop, 306 North Rock Road, Wichita.
Con artists have many tricks for stealing your money, like sweepstakes scams and identity theft scams. The AARP Fraud Watch Network helps you spot and avoid scams, and our scam tracking map shows the latest scams in your area so you can protect yourself and your family. Visit aarp.org/fraudwatchmap to see what's being reported near you. And if you spot suspicious activity, tell us about it so we can warn others. Visit aarp.org/fraudwatchmap.
Here's your latest forecast on the Big Talker KQAM for this morning. Sunny and 73, wind gusts over 20 miles an hour. Tonight, increasing clouds and 58, 20-mile-an-hour wind gusts, and a 20% chance of rain after midnight. 30% chance for tomorrow before lunch, mostly cloudy and 63. I'm Amp Harrell, and that's your latest forecast on Wichita's big station, the Big Talker, AM 1480 and 102.5 FM KQAM.
Doesn't tolerate name calling.
You could put half of Trump supporters into what I call the basket of deplorables.
But if you want to try, call the show at 316-721-8255 right now. This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
Hey, good morning to you. Welcome into the Voice of Reason. It is a Monday morning. Let's go ahead and start you off the best way we know how to do so, waking you up the right way. You can interpret that however you'd like to do so. 316-721-8255, 316-721-TALK. If you want to join into the program, we'd love to hear from you. Coming up on the show today, we do have Sara Slane. She is the Vice President of Public Affairs for the American Gaming Association. Now, if you remember, what was it, earlier this year, right towards the end of the legislative session, the federal government had talked about, and they ended up doing it, they ended up allowing states to decide how they want to do sports gambling. And many states have already legalized this. Kansas is one of those to where we have potential legalization ready to go. They have legislation ready for our new legislative session, and we'll see what comes of it. But New Hampshire or was it New Jersey? One of the states has already legalized it, and we're going to see kind of what the response is. So Sara Slane, Vice President of Public Affairs for the American Gaming Association, she's going to join us and chat with us about the latest on the states that have legalized sports gambling, what it's looked like. Has it been successful? Has it been unsuccessful? And what other states potentially could look forward to if we end up legalizing at the statewide level? So we'll talk with her coming up at 8 o'clock. Until then, though, it's open lines to you at 316-721-8255, 316-721-TALK. I did check during the break. I went into the other room and checked the TV, and you're right, no audio going through the TV side right now. It is, I think, something on their end, so I sent a message out to those guys because we do have audio going through YouTube Live right now, and it feeds to the same thing on our side. So if one has audio and the other one doesn't, then it's an issue with them. So go on to YouTube Live, go to youtube.com, find KQAM Radio. You can find the live stream going on right now. Subscribe to the page. That way you can get a reminder whenever the show is popping up first thing in the morning, and you can find the old shows as well after it's done. I don't know if you've realized or not, but we as of right now, not sure if we're going to get it back or not. I don't know yet, but we're not doing the podcast. I don't have the podcast anymore at vor.podbean.com. We're not doing that anymore. It's just, paying the $100 a year to do it, and it's just, I don't know. There's a few people that subscribed to it and downloaded it, but it wasn't really, I don't promote it very much, but we do have the podcast now essentially as YouTube, so that way you can watch the video there. So go to Facebook, or you can go to Facebook. You can find KQAM, Voice of Reason, all that good jazz. You can find the YouTube link that we share each and every day, and then you can go and watch the live feed or the show thereafter once it's actually done. All right, 316-721-8255. I think it's time as we continue on with our what?
Decision 2018.
Pay attention.
Yeah, as we talk about Decision 2018 and the election and what's coming up in the election, and as we are 1 week officially away from the election, which we're going to be your home for all of election coverage. It's going to be a big deal. It's going to be fun all night long, baby. We're going to be out and about. We're going to be covering. We're going to be doing top and bottom of the hour reports. Mike Gallagher's going to be doing reports from 6 to 10. They're going to be doing a show, him with Hugh Hewitt and the others. They're all going to be covering all the election numbers coming in throughout the country. We'll be doing coverage here on KQAM. I'm actually going to be broadcasting out from the Republican headquarters party, the election party, that Congressman Estes is going to be hosting, so I'll be out there as I do my reports. It's going to be a lot of fun looking, and I'll be emceeing, by the way, that night, that party, as well as we go up on stage and start reporting the numbers as they roll in. So really excited to do that, but this is the home right here, KQAM. You're not going to want to miss it. We're going to be doing some crazy election coverage that night. But as we continue our election coverage, it would be kind of interesting to learn about the finances on where some money's coming in for each candidate, right? As some are very interested in this. Now, some really don't care, but what I'm more concerned about, not necessarily how much money they have. Obviously, it takes money to run a campaign, to get your message out to individuals, very much so. So I don't really care necessarily how much money they have. What I am concerned about and curious about is where the money's cut, what industries that they're receiving money from, who the special interests are. Now, we live under a system today to where a lot of people think that a special interest is a bad thing. I don't necessarily think a special interest is a bad thing, because there are the NRA is a special interest. If you support the Second Amendment, the NRA is there to represent your values as a gun owner, as someone who wants to preserve your gun, as someone who wants to fight off the crazy lunatic lefties that want to ban your firearm or ban your AR-15 or make you register your gun to the government or make you go through a more rigorous background check or whatever the case is. The NRA is there to fight for you. They are a special interest, and that is a special interest that I support and that I enjoy. There are special interests that I don't enjoy, like the Green Party, or like the, the EPA. Yes, they actually contribute and donate. Or Greenpeace or some of these other progressive environmentalist groups. That would be a special interest that I don't support. But I have no problem with special interests, because when you know that the predominantly is a Republican, you're going to get Republican type of special interest. Democrats are going to get predominantly Democrat special interest, which is why it's unfortunate, and they always say, oh, it's evil, go third party. Well, guess what? The third party is going to get donations from people and organizations as well, because they need money to campaign to let you know about their message. So it really doesn't solve the problem now, does it? So let's look at the campaign finances. According to votesmart.org, it's open public records. And you can find the campaign, you can find the top contributors to who's actually contributed to the campaigns, who's actually, what industries, how much money's in-state or out-of-state, how much they've self-funded into these campaigns. And it's kind of interesting to look at. And starting off with Laura Kelly, so far, now I don't know when this was reported last, so these numbers may be a little bit outdated, but total money, and I don't think this is true. I don't see this actually being legit, right? At least right now, or at least updated, because it shows that Laura Kelly only has $154,000, and that's not true. She's got a lot more money than $154,000. Maybe this is a little bit delayed. I'm not quite sure, but $154,000 total according to this, with $137,000 coming from in the state of Kansas, $17,000 coming from out of state. Party committee ended up donating $100. Personal funds that she self-contributed, $3,500, and individual contributions, $145,000. Now, that's what that shows, looking at some of the industries that's coming to Laura Kelly. Oh, look, the number 7 largest contributor to Laura Kelly for her campaign for governor was the education industry. Shocker, right? I know, shocker. Now, number 2 is lawyers and lobbyists. Not a big surprise. I don't like lawyers donating, but, lawyers have a lot of money, so they can contribute a little bit more. But number 3 is education. Number 4 is health professionals. Shocker, right? 2 of the biggest donors that she has on her campaign are the 2 platforms that she's running on, expanding more money for education and expanding Medicaid. And the individuals in those industries that really like that, they're saying, yeah, baby, let's do it. Candidate contributions are right after that. Real estate, health services, nonprofit institutions. Now, why would a nonprofit donate to a progressive? Think about that one for a second. Civil servants and public officials, liberal policy organizations, welfare and social work, party committees, printing and publishing and computer equipment and services. Top sectors that ended up donating to Laura Kelly throughout the campaign. Again, lawyers and lobbyists, massive amounts of $32,000 by lawyers and lobbyists. Government agencies and education and other is number 3. Health is number 4. Finance, insurance, and real estate that's come in. It's really no shocker, is it? But now you know. It's really no shocker that the public sector, the public unions, the education, the lawyers and the lobbyists, all of these are the ones that are the biggest donors to the Democrat. And it makes sense when you hear her campaign, because that's exactly what she runs on. It's typical. It's sad, but it's typical. I'd love to be able to see the fact that maybe education should say, you know what, maybe we shouldn't be contributing to political organizations like that, at least, because, well, we should be using it, on the kids. Just saying. Now, let's look at Greg Orman. Greg Orman has, according to this, again, not sure if these numbers are accurate or when the last time this actually was reported, but total that he shows on this votesmart.org, $468,000 with self-funding of individual contributions of, he only funded himself. Personal funds only close to $200. Not very much, but in-state, $208,000. Out-of-state, $258,000. He's got probably the largest amount of money coming from out-of-state funds coming in his campaign. Don't know why. Can't say why. But there you have it. Some of the top industries that's donated to Greg Orman. Electric and utilities. Lawyers and lobbyists. Health professionals. He is all for expanding Medicaid. Securities and investments. Computer equipment and services. Homemakers and non-income earners. Livestock, construction services, real estate business services, general contractors, and education has come into Greg Orman. Some of the top sectors and still include energy and natural resources, finance and real estate, health, communication and electronics, and agriculture. Kind of an interesting mixture there, isn't it? Now, when it comes to Chris Kobach by far, according to this, has the most amount of money that's come in. The majority of it coming from in-state and individual contributions of $2 million. Now, this, I think, goes into, again, not sure when this was recorded. Could be a little bit more, could be a little bit less. But $2 million compared to the $500,000 that Greg Orman has, the $200,000 that Laura Kelly has. Not sure if that's true or not. Again, I would say they have a lot more money than that. But this also includes Donald Trump coming in, trying to get fundraising money for the rally, with Vice President Mike Pence coming in, with Donald Trump Jr. coming in, with all these big wig people coming to Kansas trying to fundraise for Chris Kobach. That would make sense. And there's nothing wrong with that. The fact that he's been able to get donations like this means that people enjoy him, means that people like him. Look at this. In-state has been $2 million. Out-of-state has been $70,000. Individual contributions, as people wanting to contribute to his campaign, $1.23 million. That means that it's the small individual, the people contributing to his campaign. That should be something that we're proud of. And again, the progressives are going to lose their mind over this. We, as understanding what special interests actually are, is that this is actually a good thing. The number one donation that he's received is oil and gas. Now, why do you think that is? Number one, I would say that Wink Hartman, obviously, being the lieutenant governor candidate for him, owns an oil company and is in the oil industry. So not only can he contribute, but also friends that he has in the same industry can contribute. Number two, we're a huge state when it comes to fracking and natural gas and oil. Why would that not be something that we actually want to get back in under control? That industry has gone downhill for a long time. Building materials and equipment, health professionals. Oh, look at that. Not wanting to expand Medicaid, and he's getting donations from health professionals, actually more so than what the other candidates have. Business services, manufacturing, food and beverages, automotive, livestock, general contractors, energy, construction services, health services, transportation. Look at that. He has massive of different amounts, a plethora of different industries contributing to him. Construction, the workers, the oil and gas, the people wanting to work, get our economy back under control, the energy and natural resources. It's kind of fascinating to watch this, isn't it? To look at where the money's coming from for these campaigns. And again, special interests, not a bad thing, because they represent individuals and they represent groups that have an agenda trying to make their lives better, whether it's the working class trying to get their economy back under control, whether it's a certain industry trying to get that industry back under control. Agriculture's been suffering for a really long time. Guess what? Agriculture has donated very heavily to Chris Kobach because they like what he wants to do in order to get the economy back under control. To see agriculture grow, to work with the federal administration to get trade back going again, to get commodity prices higher. They have an interest. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with that? There are industries on his list that are not contributing to Greg Orman or Laura Kelly. That should say something. For those that are still on the fence, for those that are still wavering, for those that are still a little concerned, see where the money's going. See what groups that you're involved in. See what interests that you have with, and see who's donating from that group or that industry and who they're actually supporting as candidates. 316-721-8255. Your thoughts. Maybe that doesn't matter to you. I think it matters to me, at least, to see where the money's going and the groups that I have interest with, whether it's guns, whether it's oil, whether it's manufacturing, whether it's the jobs, whether it's automotive. I want to see who they're supporting, because that means that they feel that their interest is going to be in the best hands with that candidate, and look at where it's going. Health professionals. Laura Kelly with health services, health professionals, they donated $6,000 to Laura Kelly, health professionals. Greg Orman, $4,000. Chris Kobach, health professionals, almost $10,000. Way more than the other candidates. That means there are more individuals that are involved in the health industry that are donating to an individual not wanting to expand government programs than there are people wanting to expand government programs. As we hear about these ridiculous, absurd polls saying that 60%, 70% of Kansas want the expansion of Medicaid, and we have to do this because that's what the people want. Coming even from, I laughed at this, the Libertarian during the governor's debate. Yeah, I would support it, Medicaid expansion. I'm libertarian that's less government, but I'm supportive of Medicaid expansion because the poll told me to. There are more contributions from health professionals to the anti-Medicaid expansion candidate than there are to the two candidates that want to expand Medicaid. Think about that for a second. and then try and reevaluate what the media tells you about how everybody in the health industry wants Medicaid expansion and hates Republicans because we just want sick people and old people to die in the streets. It's not true. It's lies, and we need to look at that based on these types of numbers. Got to take a break. 9 minutes at the top of the hour. Your thoughts and calls when we come back. This is The Voice of Reason.
This is The Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier on the Mid-America Network.
Market information, Mid-America Ag Network. Friday was a very positive day for our futures markets. December corn finished up 6 3/4 at 367 3/4. March corn was up 6 1/2 at 380. Each of the later months was up by 5 and 6 cents as well. December Kansas City wheat up 13 3/4 at $5 1/4 cent. March KC wheat up 13 3/4 at $5.26 3/4. We saw some very positive movement in all three wheat markets, as a matter of fact. So a good day for wheat. November soybeans up 3 1/4 at $8.45. January beans up 3 1/4 at $8.57 3/4. We saw the products were mixed at the end of the day. December soybean meal was up $3 at $307.30. January was up $3 at $309.50. But soy oil didn't fare so well. December down 23 points, 28.16. January down 23 points at 28.38. So we'll have to call it mixed numbers in the soy complex, but the beans themselves did well. Corn and Kansas City wheat did very nicely, too. December live cattle up 132 at 118.40. February up 122 at 123.45. Positives all the way down in fat cattle. November feeders up 85 at 154.80. January feeders up 65 at 149.70. Again, all the later months were in the green in feeder cattle. Hogs finished well. December hogs at 57.92, up 115. Feb hogs were at 66.37 at the close. That's up 182. So a very strong day all across the livestock complex on Friday. And cotton did well. December cotton was up 85 points as we got to the end of the day at 78.53. March cotton was up 86 points at 79.82. So it was a pretty strong day for cotton on Friday. Late in the afternoon Friday, crude oil was up 29 cents at 67.62. And we saw some pretty positive signs with unleaded gas and heating oil as well, while natural gas was fractionally lower. Market information, Mid-America Ag Network.
It's a Steckline Communications Thanksgiving tradition over a decade strong. And this year, KQAM KGSO Radio has teamed up with Yoder Meats to make this year's turkey drop the best ever. Listen weekdays, 6 to 9 on KQAM KGSO for your chance to win your Thanksgiving bird. A succulent, fresh, never frozen, natural or smoked turkey from Yoder Meats. The 13th annual turkey drop brought to you by Yoder Meats and Steckline Communications.
In Kansas, severe weather can come in an instant. Your home suffers every season from wind and hail. When disaster strikes, you need someone you can trust, someone local, someone like Morrison Roofing and Construction. Founded in Derby and serving South Central Kansas, the local experts at Morrison offer free estimates and emergency tarping. Don't trust your home to those storm chaser companies. Stick with the local experts. Morrison Roofing and Construction, 316-202-8000. That's 316-202-8000. Or visit them online at morrisonroofing.biz.
Solid values, broad experience, and judicial temperament, critical for judges, and why you should vote for Republican Roger Woods for judge in Sedgwick County Division 7. Roger Woods has a record of protecting the constitutional rights of citizens, both inside and outside the courtroom. Roger Woods has lived in Sedgwick County for nearly 2 decades and is committed to keeping it a safe place to live and raise families. In fact, Roger has received the endorsement of the Friends of the Fraternal Order of Police. Roger Woods is a lifelong Kansan, an Army veteran with 27 years in active and National Guard service, including 4 deployments to the Middle East. His range of experience, both inside and outside of the courtroom, gives him a wide perspective to serve and make a positive difference in our community. Treating people with fairness and respect is a way of life for Roger. He won't forget that every case is the most important case to the people involved. On November 6th, vote for Republican Roger Woods for judge.
This is Roger Woods. Please visit woodsforjudge.org, and I would appreciate your vote on November 6th. Paid for by Woods for Judge, T-Check Compton, Treasurer.
Hi, this is Tony White, new owner of Augusta Flight Center. There have been a lot of changes recently at AFC. We've now got a 10-aircraft fleet, including 3 Cessna 172s, a Cessna 182, a Cherokee 6, a Piper Light Sport, and have just added a Belanca Decathlon for tail dragger endorsements. We're also about to add an FAA-approved flight sim, making training and currency more economical. Fall means cooler and smoother air, so come fly with us at Augusta Flight Center, 316-733-4080.
South Central Kansas mattress customers have confirmed what industry experts have said about pure Talalay Bliss latex mattresses. And to find your piece of bliss in a good night's sleep, look no further than Derby Mattress at 105 South Baltimore in Derby. Pure Talalay Bliss latex mattresses outlast the memory foams, providing you with a very cool night's sleep. And right now at Derby Mattress, buy any Pure Talalay Bliss latex mattress and get a free basic adjustable base. Derby Mattress.
Evil, terrible, special interests, terrible things they are. I tell you, those special interests, they don't represent me. Yeah, okay. They don't represent you unless, you turn on your lights or you need gas or, you're part of a political party. Look, a Republican Party is a special interest. Democrats a special interest. Libertarian Party is a special interest, although they're so anti-special interest stuff that they don't have a unified voice. You hear a Libertarian candidate running for governor say that he's for Medicaid expansion. You hear a Libertarian candidate running for Secretary of State say that, we should have a centralized government wanting to regulate election, which I find quite fascinating. I mean, I agree, but it's just kind of interesting. I don't know that we have a unified vision or a platform or a mission statement of what the Libertarian Party actually stands for, because we're so anti telling you how to actually support. But remember, you have interests. You have interests in there. You could either try and be the special interest yourself, which is very expensive and very difficult to do, or you could be part of a special interest to allow part of your voice. Now, again, that shouldn't be all of you. We're not about the collective. We're not about the groupthink here, but we are about trying to find a unified voice to where your voice is a little bit louder, which is why you join a political party, which is why you're part of different associations or organizations or that sort of thing, about you trying to find that voice together and making your voice heard just a little bit louder. It's important. Not the collective or the groupthink to where that is you and all of you, but that is a part of you. Fascinating, isn't it? Hour number 2 coming up. We got a lot more to get to. Got some phone calls on the line as well. Don't go anywhere. We'll start off hour number 2 with you as we continue on our election coverage. We have more to get to. The shenanigans are beginning. The last week's in play, which means that the big bombs are going to be dropped in this last week, trying to damage their opponents. We'll talk about those when we come back.
At First Council Casino and Hotel, it pays to cross the state line. Play all your favorite games. Stay for a while at our luxurious hotel. The biggest acts play at First Council. Make the short drive and see for yourself. Grill and chill. On Fridays in October, win $500 every 30 minutes. Plus, win a grand prize backyard package. 7 Clans First Council Casino and Hotel. It pays to cross the state line.
Broadcasting from the Rusty Eck Ford Studios. Rusty Eck Ford, family owned, customer friendly. This is the Big Talker, 102.5 FM and 1480 AM, KQAM, Wichita proud. Broadcasting from the Rusty Eck Ford Studios. Rusty Eck Ford, family owned, customer friendly. This is the Big Talker, 102.5 FM and 1480 AM, KQAM, Wichita proud. It's time for your latest news from the KQAM News Center. Brought to you by Heartland Avionics and JD Aviation, your aircraft maintenance partners at Augusta Municipal Airport. Learn more at iflyaugusta.com.
Good Monday morning. A 30-year-old Wichita man was found guilty last week of killing his wife and dumping her body behind a Wichita business. A jury Friday convicted Donnell Stanford of first-degree murder in the death of 37-year-old Lua Moore back in April. Stafford was also found guilty on 2 counts of animal cruelty. Cake TV reports Stafford killed Moore early on a Sunday morning and placed her body in a dumpster behind a liquor store less than a mile south of their home near Kellogg and Seneca. He also stabbed 2 dogs, which were treated by an emergency veterinarian. Stafford was captured 2 days later at a hotel in Davenport, Iowa. He will be sentenced on the 6th of December. A man died over the weekend from an early Sunday morning shooting in Hayesville. The report of shots fired came in around 1:45 Sunday morning, and responding officers say they found a large crowd leaving a party at a local venue after a fight broke out. Officers located a man who had been shot. He died at the scene. Cake TV reports Hayesville PD is working with the Sedgwick County Sheriff's Office and Wichita Police Department in the investigation. Spirit Aerosystems is putting on hold a $650 million deal that would give it more work on military aircraft and commercial jetliners. Wichita's largest employer announced last week it's postponing the deal to acquire the parent company of ASCO Industries in Belgium because of issues identified during a review of the acquisition by the European Commission. Wichita Eagle reports Spirit didn't disclose what the issues were, but said Spirit remains confident that the transaction will be completed. New hours at Kansas driver's license offices beginning today. Most driver's license offices in Kansas will debut the hours, which are from 8 to 5 Monday through Friday. The offices traditionally have been closed on Mondays, thus will now be open 5 days a week. The change also marks the end of Saturday hours, which were available at several offices around Kansas. I'm Rick Everett from the news desk. Now with sports, Doug Downs.
This past offseason, the Kansas City Chiefs acquired Sammy Watkins, and yesterday it paid off as Watkins caught 2 touchdowns in the Chiefs' 30-23 win over the Broncos. Patrick Mahomes was glad to see Sammy Watkins' success.
I was happy for him to get out there, make a lot of really big plays that really changed the tide of the game.
4 home runs and a 5-1 victory in Game 5 gave the World Championship to the Boston Red Sox last night in the World Series. Pierce had 2 out of the 4 home runs and was named MVP. From the sports desk, I'm Doug Downs.
MJ's Truck Repair at Exit 46 off I-135 in Mound Ridge, America is the largest full-service truck center between Wichita and Salina in central Kansas. Truckers in the know already know, and ag people from miles around know they can turn to MJ's Truck Repair for repair and parts for their tractors, combines, and hay equipment. You construction types, listen up. Skid steers, backhoes, forklifts, bulldozers, and payloaders. MJ's of Mound Ridge is also your construction equipment, parts, and repair headquarters. Find MJ's on the web at mjstruckrepair.com.
All right, welcome to F-150 Radio. Today, the new 2018 Ford F-150. It doesn't just raise the bar, it is the bar. Why? Eugene, go.
I think because Ford engineers always add new stuff, so the competition can't catch up.
Whoa, Eugene sounds like an expert.
Well, I got a store that sells exclusively bar-raising merchandise, like a calendar with an extra month.
An extra month?
Extrebuary. It has 32 days.
So you can appreciate the new 2018 F-150 raising the bar with available bliss with trailer coverage. It monitors your trucks and your trailer's blind spots.
How about our new bar-raising poker chips? You can play with them or eat them. So,
The new 2018 F-150 raises the bar with auto start-stop, standard on all engines, and an available 10-speed transmission.
We have sandals with available built-in socks.
And we are out of time.
Huge in Oregon.
This is the new 2018 Ford F-150. It doesn't just raise the bar, it is the bar.
Driver assist features like bliss are supplemental and do not replace the driver's attention, judgment, and the need to control the vehicle.
Here's the latest from the KQAM News Center.
From Berlin this morning, German Chancellor Angela Merkel reportedly says this will be her final parliamentary term leading the country. She is also said to be ruling out running for a senior position at the European Union. Robert Gregory Bowers taken into custody and charged in the shooting deaths of 11 people at a Pittsburgh synagogue over the weekend. Expected in federal court today, prosecutors will ask to seek the death penalty. Also due in court today, Cesar Sayoc, the Florida man arrested on charges of mailing at least 14 pipe bombs to critics of President Trump.
This is his first appearance stemming from 5 federal charges out of the Southern District of New York that includes the illegal mailing of explosives.
That's correspondent Rosa Flores, who tells us the case will move from Florida to New York. 189 passengers and crew thought killed this morning after a new 737 airliner crashed into the sea off Jakarta, Indonesia, shortly after takeoff. The Red Sox claimed the World Series championship, beating the LA Dodgers last night. I'm Michael Toscano.
Your local weather on KQAM. Brought to you by Spears Restaurant and Pie Shop at the northeast corner of Town West Mall on Maple. Getting it right for over 60 years. Spears Restaurant and Pie Shop.
Here's your latest forecast on the Big Talker KQAM for this morning. Sunny and 73, wind gusts over 20 miles an hour. Tonight, increasing clouds and 58, 20-mile-an-hour wind gusts, and a 20% chance of rain after midnight. 30% chance for tomorrow before lunch, mostly cloudy and 63. I'm Amp Harrell, and that's your latest forecast on Wichita's big station, the Big Talker, AM 1480 and 102.5 FM KQAM.
At 7:06, it's currently 45 degrees.
Broadcasting from the Midwest Kia Studios, this is the Big Talker, 1480 AM and 102.5 FM KQAM. It's time for Reason.
They want the endorsements because they don't want to look as radical as what they actually are. And the Republicans that are endorsing them, they are showing not as a member of the Republican Party, but as an individual who is so desperate to fit in with the fads, with the trends. It's the retro thing to do, man. And I'm the Republican that supports the Democrat who hates the Republican agenda. This is the latest campaign because they can't win any other way.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
Then I'll get on my knees and pray. We don't get fooled again. Don't get fooled again.
Oh, that's what I'm talking about. Welcome into the Voice of Reason, hour number 2 of the Voice of Reason, broadcasting live out of the heart of the nation here in Wichita, Kansas, on the Big Talker, 1480 on the AM side, 102.5 on the FM side, KQAM, simulcasting as well on TV, KGPT TV, channel 2610. Good morning, welcome aboard. It's an honor to have you along on a Monday as we set the tone for today and for the entire week, getting you ready, pumped up. We're 1 week away from Election Day. That should be kind of an exciting time for you, and we do it all right here on the Voice of Reason and KQAM Radio.
Let's get it started in here. Let's get it started. Let's get it started in here. Let's get it started. Let's get it started in here. Let's get it started. Let's get it started in here.
Yep, welcome in, 316-721-8255, 316-721-TALK. If you want to join in, coming up in an hour from now, we do have Sara Slane, Vice President of Public Affairs for the American Gaming Association, talking about the legalization of sports gambling, as many states have done so far. Many states are potentially going to be doing soon, including the state of Kansas. And all three candidates for governor have been open to the idea of the legalization of gambling in order to bring in more revenue to the state. There's already been legislation worked up from last year waiting to be passed. And now that many states are already passing it, it's time for us to go see what has looked like in those states, the revenue it's generated, whether it's been good, whether it's been bad. So we'll talk with Sara coming up in hour number 3 about the legalization of sports gambling in the states that have passed it. Is it beneficial or is it not beneficial as we go into our new legislative session in January? So we'll talk with her coming up in hour number 3. Until then, though, it is up to you, 316-721-8255. And let's kick off hour number 2 with a phone call, shall we? Line number 1. Good morning. What's your name?
Hey, good morning. It's Deacon.
Deacon, what's going on, sir? How you doing?
Man, it's a beautiful day out here, and I'm living the dream.
I love it. Hey, I got to say, you don't drive the garbage truck here in Wichita, do you?
No, man. I'm in a smaller municipality to the east.
That's what I thought. Okay, because I just wanted to make sure. There was a jerk garbage man driving this morning where he flew past me on the highway, got right in front of me, and then slammed on his brakes, so I had to swerve and go and pass him, and then I got back in front of him cruising, and then he passed me again. And I don't know what the dude was doing, but I just wanted to make sure, there was no funny business going on there.
Well, we have these really cool things on our trucks. We've got 5 cameras on our trucks that record. So if somebody calls in, then they just come out and they pull the card and they go, "Hey, what were you thinking here?" So I think all of our trucks need to have cameras and safety.
There you go. I don't know what is the. I mean, he was just. We were going 55, 60, and he was just cruising along. He passed me. Okay, fine. Got in front of me. Okay, fine. Then he slams on his brakes, and I had to swerve and get into the other lane, pass him again, got back into my lane, and then he ended up cruising past me again and just took off. So I don't know what his deal was. Maybe he's found a mouse or something in there and it freaked him out, or I don't know.
Sounds like waste management to me.
There you go. Anyways, what's going on, my brother? What's happening?
Well, the reason I was calling was, you were talking about special interest.
Yes.
I'm going to go back to a week or so ago when you guys were talking about industry coming in and getting special tax cuts and things, and people are all
Mm-hmm.
upset about it.
Sure.
Well, to me, it's the same thing. They let an industry come in and go, okay, we're gonna not tax you for 10 years.
Sure.
Well, they're also going to give 500-600 people a job, and they're going to pay taxes.
Right.
They're going to pay for the electricity. People are going to just not even people who work for them are going to get jobs. Other industries, they're going to feed those other industries.
You're exactly right. I mean, when you hear the progressives on the left side of the aisle, and many that are unaffiliated and just whatever, they're all upset about this and how dare we give tax breaks to corporations? How dare you make these deals so it's nice and smooth for them to come in? And is it really worth it? You're right. I mean, that not only comes in and ingests money into our system, but they hire individuals, which creates industry and creates job growth and then creates more revenue and more wealth in the community. And then whatever product they're making, they're buying raw materials or other materials from other companies, which boost them. Then they provide a resource that provides money to elsewhere, and it goes on down the chain. This is so beneficial to our economy. If that's what it takes to do some nice cushy opportunity for businesses to come in, then why not? Not to mention the fact that taxes are so high in the state that if we're able to give them a tax cut, that would entice them to come in anyways. And then other businesses would say, hello, wait a second, we want it too. Can we get some tax incentives? And guess what? Maybe we should just cut taxes all aboard so we don't even have to give it to them. Just say, hey, that's the way our state operates. Come on in and you're going to benefit from it no matter who you are.
That's right. Doesn't matter who you are. We're not going to charge you taxes on the money that you earn. But if on the money that you spend, okay, we're going to charge a sales tax. I'm cool with that. But every dollar that you make is taxed at least five or six times, I think.
Sure.
So we're getting taxed to death. And when people say, "Oh, big corporation," a big corporation is made up of a lot of small people.
Well, that's true, but they don't see that. They can't connect the dots. They hear evil big corporation. I'm a little person down here. I'm totally jealous about what they have and what they're doing, and they have stuff that I don't, and they're able to contribute more in donations than I can, and they have a larger voice than I do, so that's unfair, so therefore we should silence them because I don't like them. And that's all they literally see. They don't see the benefit that they're even getting secondhand even from a corporation coming into an area.
The town I live in, we've got a refinery, we've got several manufacturing facilities, and we've got some chemical plants. And one of the chemical plants helped build a new sports complex.
Sure.
For the college and the local schools. When
How
they
terrible
save
they
money,
are.
they tend to put it back in the community.
Yeah, how terrible they are doing stuff like that. I agree. Deacon, I appreciate it very much, my friend. Always good, and happy Monday to you. No, that's the way it is. And look, special interest has gotten this bad negative connotation to it of, special. You're a special interest? You got money from a special interest? What? No, you can't be doing that. I mean, come on, wait a second. You are a special interest. I am a special interest. I'm a constituent. You're a constituent. You're a voter. I'm a voter. We're a special interest. Now, how do we get our message to the candidate to let them know that they need to represent myself and the interests that I have? Whether it is because you're a farmer and you want agriculture prices to be better and commodity prices to go back up and better trade deals, and you want the economy to tick back up so you can hire more people, you're a special interest. And I'm sure that the majority of the farmers listening right now are maybe part of like the Kansas Farm Bureau, because that is a special interest advocating for your interest, for your agenda. And guess what? A large portion of the Kansas Farm Bureau, who has endorsed, by the way, Chris Kobach, and the agricultural community that's donated a lot to Chris Kobach's campaign, that's a special interest. Saying, hey, we understand you're going to make better trade deals. You're going to work with the federal government. You're going to try and keep taxes low. You're not going to go crazy on our property taxes. You're going to be beneficial to the Kansas farmer. Shocker, I know, right? Special interests are not a bad thing. And especially if you're part of a political party, which I would highly recommend, so that way you can have a larger voice of people of like-minded interests like you, and you can all fight together. That is a special interest as well. 316-721-8255. We called it. We told you this was going to happen. And after a while, you would think this would get mundane and this would get very old and this would get to where you don't believe it any longer. And the credibility would kind of go out the window a little bit. But first off, of course, it is the last week before an election. It is the October surprise is what they love to call this. The last week or two, the end of October, they don't have a chance to respond to this. They don't have a chance to actually elaborate or what's going on. But it's the big shock and awe right before an election of, hey, this is the attack that we're going to go after for the last minute, bam, for anybody on the fence and trying to deter them from my opponent. And we know it happens, especially in a heated race like it is in the 2nd Congressional District with Paul Davis, with Steve Watkins. And the latest, according to the Topeka Capital Journal, uploaded as of Saturday, acquaintances of Kansas congressional candidate Steve Watkins accused the Republican nominee of being unfaithful to his wife while claiming to be in an open marriage and of instigating alleged sexual misconduct while being a resident of Alaska. Allegations emerged after the 2nd District began casting advanced ballots, but less than 2 weeks away from the November 6th election. Now, if I remember correctly, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, I may be, but if I remember, right before the primary is when Steve Watkins got married. Now, he's been with his wife for a while, and they went on missions trips together, and she worked in the health industry. That was the attack that they had, that she worked with Planned Parenthood while she was over in Africa and working on some third world stuff with the healthcare industry, when she didn't necessarily work for Planned Parenthood, from what he had said, but she had worked with Planned Parenthood on a trip to a third world country that was completely unrelated to any of the political stuff that we deal with today. But that was an accusation. And then now, all of a sudden, though, apparently, according to this story, they've been married for a while. They have an open marriage, and that he's had sexual misconduct while being a resident of Alaska, trying to advance on other women while being a married man and not being faithful to his wife. This is coming out just days before the election. Just a week before the general election, or before the midterm general election on Tuesday. And this is supposed to be the big shock and awe of, hey, this guy's terrible. We should probably not vote for him, right? Now, I'm going to say, I don't know whether it's true or not. Maybe I don't know how they could have an open relationship when they got married literally right before the primary election. We talked with him just a week or two before the primaries in August, and he had just gotten married the weekend prior. We told him congratulations right here on the show. So if he's done sexual misconduct with an open relationship between him and his wife, it had to have been between the last 2 or 3 months. So I don't know, but maybe they're considering the time that they were together. Maybe they were engaged for a long time. I don't know. This is the shenanigans that they come out with right before the election. Would this deter anybody? If you're a Republican, you're on the fence, you're trying to vote for the Republican or thinking of who you're going to vote for in the 2nd District, it's been really heated between the unknown Steve Watkins, who's never been a politician, who is the military guy, who lived in Alaska, who's the adventurer. And then you have Paul Davis, who's been the seasoned politician. He's been in the state legislature. He's run for a few other offices. And you're trying to think, who's going to be the best candidate for me? Is it going to be the Democrat progressive? Is it going to be the Republican? Who's actually going to be here? But then you see this, Steve Watkins, sexual misconduct, open marriage with his wife. Again, open marriage with his wife. He's only been married 2 or 3 months. Even if so, let's just say that it's true. Does that deter you away from voting for him as a Republican? Now, some would say, well, yeah, I mean, obviously that's not right. We don't believe in the open marriage. We don't support that claim. Does that have anything to do with his policies? Does it have anything to do with his politics? That's like saying that you're not going to support Donald Trump because what he's done, because he's had extramarital affairs in his past with his wife and without his wife, and therefore we should have someone like Hillary Clinton. Is that deterring? And by the way, why does it always have to boil down to this subject? To this topic? Why is it the Democrats, who are very loose, who are very open, who are very much for, you don't need to be married like that. We need to have the single parent family. We need to have the doing whatever you want to do. We need to have the mentality of let's just free love and the lovey-dovey thing and do whatever we want. That's the progressive mentality. And then they always go down the last week before an election. They do the sexual allegations. They go after them and they say that they're rapists or that they're terrible human beings, that they've had an affair, that they've whatever. Now, granted, Steve Watkins did go after Paul Davis for the whole stripper thing and being at a strip club and being in a strip club when it got busted and got raided for a drug thing. He didn't have anything to do with the drug raid, but he was there at the time because he knew the owner, and the owner was the one being investigated for the drug thing. So, I mean, that did come up as well. But why does it always boil down to this subject? And does this matter in any way, shape, or form even if it's true. Now, we don't know whether it's true. It's just an allegation coming out. But it always has to boil down, and it always has to come out just a week before the election. Good golly. Good grief, Charlie Brown. Let's go back to the phones here, shall we? 316-721-8255, line number 1. Good morning. What's your name?
It's Wallace.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Not too bad. I mean, got to stay clear of these Democrats, man. They're crazy.
They are crazy. They don't care. They will throw anything at the wall and see what sticks, no matter what type of allegation, no matter what they have to say. They'll just go after them.
Well, and then, same on a national level, I mean, you think about, the Mad Bomber, from what I'm hearing, none of those bombs were even designed to go off.
Sure.
They were just meant to, it was scare tactics.
Sure.
And so what's funny is 11 bombs went out. No Democrats were dead. But then, you look at the Nazi, and just so everybody knows, Nazis don't like Republicans. Okay, Nazis are not right-wing. Nazis, if you go back and you look at what Adolf Hitler stood for, it's everything the Democrats stand for minus the genocide. It is the exact same Democrat platform. But the reason why I was calling, I stumbled across an article last week. This comes from Kansas, Trago County. Are you doing open line right now, by the way?
Well, I tell you what, let's take a break real quick, and then we can get to that one. We got to take a break anyways. 22 minutes past the hour, but yeah, let's get into that a little bit when we come back, and you can talk about the story that you found. Would you? And here's the question that I have for you, just wrapping up this conversation when it comes to Steve Watkins and when it comes to these allegations. Is it surprising that this stuff comes out right before the election, and does this deter Republicans from voting for Republicans last minute going into an election? Does it really matter? We'll talk about that and more when we come back. Got to take a break. It is a Monday morning here on The Voice of Reason. Stay tuned.
This is The Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier on the Big Talker, KQAM.
Ag News from Mid-America Ag Network. I'm Craig Meade. The ethanol industry fears the EPA's rulemaking for summertime sales of E15, which starts next summer, won't leave enough time for some retailers to install new equipment. Renewable Fuels Association President Jeff Cooper admits the EPA's schedule to have a final rule out by May 1st leaves little time for filling stations to install E15 pumps.
They would very much appreciate and respond to a clearer signal. Obviously, the president's announcement a couple weeks ago that he's directing EPA to get started here was a very important signal. But, the next step is seeing the actual proposal.
And the actual proposal, according to the EPA, won't be out until February.
We would very much like to see the proposal out sooner than February. We think it's possible, definitely possible, for EPA to expedite the time frame to get the rule out and get it finalized. And we'll continue to advocate that.
In the meantime, Cooper says some major retailers, including Casey's and Cumberland Farms, announced plans to sell E15 at hundreds of locations, while other retailers are close to deciding. In other news, the USDA is considering the possibility of adjusting direct payments to producers who've been hurt by the trade wars. Adjustments may include factoring in hurricane damage after the southeast U.S. producers were hit hard by hurricanes this year. A DTN report says Purdue asked the USDA staff to look at the fact that they believe payments should be based on actual production and not country averages. I think we've got to look at situations where people had good crops that were totally obliterated, Purdue says. These safety net programs don't factor that consideration into the equation. In the meantime, Purdue made clear that USDA will be announcing a second round of payments under the Market Facilitation Program. Ag News, Mid-America Ag Network.
Where did the summer go? Hi, this is Charlotte Kennedy Tire. Suddenly it's time for back to school and football. This is also a good time to make sure you're ready for the coming seasons and the weather they bring. Could be a set of our super safe Michelins for Mom's Taxi, or our sporty line from BF Goodrich that look great and handle even better, or a set of our Uniroyal tires for the student on a budget. Whatever fits your driving needs, Kennedy Tire and Auto Care Center has the right tire just for you. So call 945-7131 or come by 3250 West 13th Street North. Kennedy Tire and Auto Care Center, your friend in the tire business.
carrying the crafts of the top designers, and an in-house team that specializes in custom design, bridal jewelry, diamonds, and the ability to design a piece or ring just as unique as the recipient. Jewelry Savers in front of Cabela's at K96 and Greenwich Road has earned the reputation as Wichita's best. But don't take my word for it. Ask their customers, or better yet, experience Jewelry Savers for yourself.
We don't want $1 million, just a million friends.
At Yoder Meats, we are celebrating the start of fall with our ground beef bundle. In October, we are featuring the ground beef bundle with 10 pounds of regular ground beef, 10 pounds of extra lean ground beef, 10 pounds of Boston burger, which is 50% beef, 50% pork, and 3 pounds of quarter-pound beef patties. 33 pounds in total for just $100. Stop in today to get yours. Follow Yoder Meats on Facebook for all the latest information and specials. Taste the old-fashioned flavor at Yoder Meats in Yoder and 3 locations in Wichita.
South Central Kansas mattress customers have confirmed what industry experts have said about pure Talalay Bliss latex mattresses. And to find your piece of bliss in a good night's sleep, look no further than Derby Mattress at 105 South Baltimore in Derby. Pure Talalay Bliss latex mattresses outlast the memory foams, providing you with a very cool night's sleep. And right now at Derby Mattress, buy any Pure Talalay Bliss latex mattress and get a free basic adjustable base. Derby Mattress.
27 minutes past the hour. Welcome back into the Voice of Reason. Good Monday morning to you. It's a beautiful Monday. Kicking off your morning better than a cup of coffee, a shot of espresso, even an energy drink right here on the Voice of Reason. Welcome in. 316-721-8255. The Remain Red bus tour still going on. We'll have some more details on where they're going to be throughout the state today and the next couple of days. If you want to try and catch them again, Chris Kobach, Jake LaTurner, Derek Schmidt, Estes, Congressman Ron Estes, all of them, they were in the area, Fridays. They got to do the big bus tour here in the Wichita area. That was a good, fun time. Hopefully you got to make it. It sounds like they had a really great turnout for that one. We'll talk about some more of that in just a little bit. Let's go back to the phones here. Wallace, you had a story. What did you find over the weekend?
Well, it was a story out of Trego County, Kansas. And, the headline of the article says, Kansas man, and this is a 2015 case, Kansas man in prison for death of girlfriend's unborn fetus requests a new trial. And you read into it, and it says he was convicted of conspiracy to commit murder of the unborn child carried by his girlfriend.
But I thought that they weren't considered a human being.
And this is what's troubling me. Look, personally, I think if you intentionally go out and kill an unborn child, I think you ought to be charged with something, whether it's involuntary manslaughter, something. But according to the law has this double standard. And what bugs me is this guy, thought about and concocted a plan to kill his unborn child. And a woman can do the exact same thing. She can, with premeditation, go in and commit an act. And now this is the law calling it an unborn child. And he's been charged, with a conspiracy based on that. But my question is in the act of an abortion, for no good reason, and when I say if it's not rape, incest, imminent harm to the mother, those I think are justifiable reasons. However, that being said, you're convicting or sentencing this unborn child to death. What has it been charged with? What crime has it had? Where was its jury trial? And so you look at these things, and why can a mother, for no other reason than convenience, commit a premeditated act and get away scot-free? Mm-hmm. It results in the exact same disposition of the child when this guy did it.
Well, because it goes into whether it fits the political narrative or not, and whether it's okay at the time, whether they accept it that time based on the narrative or not. Look, we know this. It's not new surprise or new news to anybody, but progressives are hypocrites. And when it fits the narrative, then it's okay. When it doesn't fit the narrative, they forget about it and look the other way. So, Wallace, I appreciate it. Got to take a bottom-of-the-hour break. Interesting story for sure. We got some other calls on the line. Don't go anywhere. We'll get to you as soon as we come back. Bottom of the hour news. This is the Voice of Reason on KQAM.
The latest news from the Big Talker, KQAM.
In Pittsburgh, Robert Bowers, arrested on charges he shot and killed 11 worshipers at a synagogue Saturday, will face a judge today with prosecutors seeking permission to try for the death penalty. And correspondent Jessica Dean tells us there's controversy about a high-level visit there.
President Trump has said he plans to visit Pittsburgh sometime this week, but a group of progressive Jewish leaders wrote a letter saying he's not welcome here unless he denounces white nationalism.
Rescue crews are battling rough seas as they seek survivors in the crash of a Lion Air jetliner off Jakarta, Indonesia. All 189 persons on board feared lost. Some 8,500 students are rushing to finish their coursework at Virginia College, a multi-state unaccredited for-profit college that is closing down 17 campuses to stave off creditors. A new caravan, 300 people, has departed El Salvador, heading to the U.S. Homeland Security Secretary Kirstjen Nielsen warning, "Do not come, you will not be allowed in." I'm Michael Toscano.
For a limited time at VisionWorks, you can get 2 complete pairs of glasses, frames, lenses, the works, for just $49 on single vision glasses and $89 on progressives. And that's a good deal. But we offer that pricing on over 500 frames, which makes it a great deal. A great deal better than the other guys. Right now, buy 2 complete pairs of single vision glasses for just $49 or 2 pairs of progressives for only $89. VisionWorks, we're here to help you. Some restrictions apply. See store for details. Offer expires November 10th.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit beefy, or even with type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Affordable term life insurance is out there. Call Term Provider and speak with Big Lou at 800-481-1458. 800-481-1458 or visit biglou.com. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too.
Kansas Mid-America Network News. A senior on Kansas State's rowing team died Saturday after contracting a sudden illness. 23-year-old Samantha Scott was from Fort Morgan, Colorado, and rowed for the Wildcats the last 4 seasons. Scott was selected to the academic All-Big 12 team last year when she led K-State's 1v8 and 1v4 boats. Cake TV reports Scott was studying architectural engineering. The Greenwood County Sheriff's Office investigating a report of 18 Holstein steers stolen from a property near Lamont, Kansas. Deputies say the theft occurred between October 5th and 25th. All 18 steers have a brand on the right hip with VF. Anyone with information about the stolen cattle asked to contact the Greenwood County Sheriff's Office. And the governor has ordered flags to be flown at half-staff through October 31st sunset to honor the victims of the synagogue shooting in Pennsylvania. Mid-America Network News.
Radical liberal James Thompson is unfit to represent Kansas. James Thompson is an unrepentant liberal who supports allowing late-term abortions and even funding abortions with your tax dollars, and an unrepentant socialist who wants to force Kansans into total government-controlled health care and double your income taxes to pay for it. It's no wonder James Thompson has an F rating from the NRA, because he supports requiring Kansans to register their guns with the federal government. James Thompson, unfit to represent Kansas. There is a better choice. Ron Estes, a champion for Kansas values. Ron Estes has been endorsed by Kansans for Life and the Kansas Farm Bureau for always protecting our way of life. And Ron Estes has been A-rated and endorsed by the NRA for defending our heritage and right to self-defense. Ron Estes, a champion for the Second Amendment, farmers, families, and innocent life.
I'm Ron Estes, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Estes for Congress.
Here's your latest forecast on the Big Talker KQAM for this morning. Sunny and 73, wind gusts over 20 miles an hour. Tonight, increasing clouds and 58, 20-mile-an-hour wind gusts, and a 20% chance of rain after midnight. 30% chance for tomorrow before lunch, mostly cloudy and 63. I'm Amp Harrell, and that's your latest forecast on Wichita's big station, the Big Talker, AM 1480 and 102.5 FM KQAM.
At 7:34, it's currently 42 degrees.
This segment of the Voice of Reason on KQAM brought to you by Riverside Cafe, home of the 3-pound burger and hand-cut fries, plus breakfast all day long. 2 Wichita locations and 824 North Baltimore in Derby. Riverside Cafe. taking talk radio to the next level. The Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
That's kind of what we do. Welcome into The Voice of Reason. Happy Monday morning to you. It's an honor to have you along today for the ride. This portion of The Voice of Reason brought to you by Lamar's Donut and Coffee. Be a star today on your way to work. Pick up a dozen donuts from Lamar's. Great way to start each and every morning. They do have 3 locations in the area, just south of Rock and K96. One at Tyler and Mays, one at Harry on east side of Hillside. Try them. You'll like them. It's Lamar's Donut and Coffee. Lamar's Donut and Coffee online at lamars.com. Go and check them out. We appreciate them partnering up with us here on the KQAM airwaves and KGSO as well. Let's go to the phones, 316-721-8255. Line number 2. Good morning. What's your name? Hello. Going once. Going twice. All right, give me a call back. We want to hear from you. 316-721-8255. There's a story that I thought was absolutely fascinating, and I say yes, 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 baby, and yes, when it comes to the way that the media is beginning to portray some of these elections. As here's the headline: Estes versus Thompson campaign, a stand-in for the Trump-Sanders race that never was. Let me tell you something, and I think it's a great way to wrap this one up with Congressman Ron Estes, the conservative, the Trump supporter, with James Thompson, the progressive, the Bernie Sanders-ite. Let's do it. Head-to-head, toe-to-toe. Let's square off, and let's see which side prevails. Now, you got to remember as well, and look, if the media is going to portray this as this is the one, this is the Estes-Thompson, the Trump-Sanders race that never was, what will happen between conservatism and progressivism? The traditional constitutionalists versus the progressive socialists. What will come out in the end, and who will prevail in this, in the red corner and in the blue corner? If this is the way they want to portray it, do it. Do it. Because I want to see what the headline's going to look like afterwards when we win 50-20, which, by the way, right now is about the latest polls that I saw. That's about what it's going to turn out to be. Ish. Now, that doesn't equal 100, so I guess it would be like a 60-40 kind of thing. But still, we're going to dominate that race. It's a red state. It's a red district. I don't think Congressman Estes is going to have much of a problem here. And if we're going to end up doing the comparison of what would it look like if it was Trump versus Sanders, this is what the outcome would be. If we're going to use the Estes versus Thompson campaigns, this is what it would look like. So do it. You know what? Let's hype it up as the Trump-Sanders race that never was. What would happen in a 1-to-1 race, a head-to-head race between Donald Trump and Bernie Sanders, and let's use the example of an Estes-Thompson race and see what comes out in the end like this. Let's do it. Thanks, Wichita Eagle. You've set yourself up for failure on the progressive agenda. Thanks, Wichita Eagle. You've allowed people to think, gee, what's it going to look like at the end of the day? Yeah, good luck with that one. Good luck with that one. 316-721-8255. Getting some other messages on Facebook about no sound on the TV side. I know we've sent the message out to them. They can look at that. They can try and fix the audio. We do have the audio live on YouTube. If you go to youtube.com and find the KQAM page there and the live stream there. So it's on their end because it's the same program that sends the video and audio to both YouTube and to the TV studio. And if one's working and the other one's not, then it's on their end. So they're working on that. They're trying to figure that out. But we are on YouTube. You can find us on the radio and on YouTube right now at youtube.com and find KQAM Radio's page. Subscribe to it and find the feed, the stream going on live right now. Let's go to the phones here. Line number 1. Good morning. What's your name?
Good morning, Andy. This is Jeff.
Jeff, good morning, sir. How are you?
Good. Sounds like you're looking for answers of moral clarity on the issues that you have before you this morning. I originally called to comment on the Steve Watkins question that you asked. But,
yeah, go ahead. So do you think that the allegations coming out last minute about him supposedly alleged having an open relationship, an open marriage, and trying to have sexual misconduct with other individuals. Now, they say it's in Alaska. Like I said, he didn't even get married to his wife until right before the primaries. And so I don't know what they're talking about, an open relationship just in that previous time, unless they're saying the time that they were maybe engaged for the years prior. I don't know. But number one, do you believe it as a smear tactic last minute before the election? And number two, even if it's true or not, does that deter you away from voting for someone like that?
Okay, so the first thing I just want to, identify my profile to give some clarity. So I'm a Christian, I'm a conservative, I'm a Republican. I try to support the conservative political agendas, right, that increase individual liberty so that we can thrive as individuals in our country.
Sure.
So with that said, here's the thing. We know that the Democrats are going to lie, smear, attempt to tear down the Republican candidate and throw everything they got at him. But what really matters is what is true. And let's just go with what we know. All we know, if all we have is an accusation, then we have to, decide, well, how credible is that? But the thing is this, is ultimately, look, if there's some sort of standard for what marriage ought to be, as a Christian, we go to the Bible for that. We go to the Bible for clarity on what adultery is and the morality there. That's where we have to go.
Sure.
So what we can say is, look, the guy got married. That's good. If he violated his marriage vows, that's not good. That's not something that we can support. However, if it's a situation where you don't know, like we don't actually have the facts before us, we just have someone with an accusation.
Sure.
We need to go on with what we know, what we can verify. I mean, you've got to use our intelligence. We can't read people's minds and hearts, but just based on what I know, just based on how you described it, I mean, we're not at the situation where we suddenly go, oh, okay, I guess I'm going to vote for the Democrat now, right? Because as Ben Shapiro likes to say, as bad as Republicans are, the Democrats are always, an order of magnitude worse on those issues. So,
well, and let's look at it this way as well. I mean, Donald Trump had those allegations as well, and he's admitted to some of them. And there's enough that it makes sense. I mean, he's the billionaire, and women flock to him, and he's talked about grabbing them by the what, and he's done these things. And we can talk about his morality and whether Christians and religious supporters actually support Donald Trump as well. At the end of the day, they haven't wavered from his support because he has talked about finding religion and finding God and being very religious in that aspect. Second off, does that really change his policy making? And when we talk about who's going to stand in representing policy in a platform based on lower taxes, limited governments, or whether we're going to have more taxes and social spending or whatever the case is, when it came down to a Hillary Clinton versus a Donald Trump, was that allegation severe enough for you to say, I'd rather have a Hillary Clinton in office? And that's really what it comes down to in this one, is let's just say that the details came out and he admitted it and he said, yeah, we have an open relationship. That's just the way we roll. And we've always done that. And we're very happy in doing so. And some people are like, whoa, this guy's a little nuts. Okay, he's got an open marriage with his wife. We don't necessarily support that. When it comes down to it, is that going to alter someone's mind on voting for him as opposed to a Paul Davis that's a very progressive Democrat who wants to turn the state blue? If we had that information, how would some Republicans end up voting?
Yeah, ultimately, with Donald Trump, for me, it was he loves this country. There's no doubt about that, and that was enough.
Sure.
And then on top of that, he's also friendly and open and respectful to the Christian point of view on our country's founding, on morality, on these things, despite himself having all these shortfalls, and despite him actually, as far as I know, is not a Christian man. He is open to sit down with Christians and talk, the moral issues, even though he himself has all kinds of faults. We recognize that, but he, that doesn't disqualify me from being able to vote for such a person, because he actually is open to sitting down and setting an agenda that is in line with, the Christian worldview. And I appreciate that. I'm not going to overlook that and suddenly vote for the Democrat. I mean, are you nuts?
Well, and that's what it is. So that's why I'm very interested in why the Democrats are coming out with this kind of smear. Now, it says it came from someone within his camp that made the announcement that, of course, the Democrats are going to run with it to try and smear him in the last couple of days before the election. Jeff, I love it. It's great insight. I appreciate that very much because it's very interesting to me on why they would run with this the last minute. Shocker, right? The big October surprise that they always like to do. But this topic, why does it always come down to this topic? And does that make you change your mind? Because with how close that race is, it's within 1 or 2 points. It has been the entire time. It's been a very dirty campaign, really going after each other pretty harshly. Going into this midterm election with Paul Davis and Steve Watkins, is this the final straw that some Republicans may say, nope, can't support him? Or are they going to say, really, give me a break? Give me a break. That's what you're going to go after him with? Sorry, it's not going to work. Your thoughts on this? Line number 2, let's go back to it. Good morning. What's your name?
Well, if you're hearing me right now, I can't hear you.
You
I
can't hear me.
Nope, I can't. It's not on, hasn't been on, and I can't hear your customers either.
No,
I can hear you.
Now, are
on
you
the
talking? No, you can hear me on the phone. You're talking about the TV.
Yes, sirree.
Yes.
On the TV, or I wouldn't be calling you. I'm just letting you know they censored you. You're down.
We're down right now. No, I appreciate that. We have gotten some messages, and I know that they are working on that. So I'm not sure what's going on there. We do have the YouTube feed that does have audio, and then, of course, the radio. But, yeah, the TV does have the video, not having the audio right now, and I'm not quite sure why. So they are working on that. Hopefully that's back up here pretty soon.
Okay.
So.
I don't know what you're talking about, but if they're trying to hurt somebody,
they're coming after us. It's the censoring.
Yeah.
No, I appreciate it very much. Thank you for the heads up. And, yes, we are aware, and we will continue to work on that one. So stay tuned in. Try and tune into the YouTube Live right there. Maybe you can get some audio, or just flip on to KQAM on 1480 on the AM, and you can just hear us right on the radio. Appreciate that. Let's go back to it. Line number 3. Good morning. What's your name?
Morning, brothers. Joe.
Joe, what's happening, sir?
Hey, not much. Hey, does this just not sound like the typical Democratic playbook? You know, just accuse, and have nothing to prove it?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Nothing to back it up?
It's crazy. And they always, of course, do this at the last minute to where hopefully, look, again, I don't know how many Republicans will be like, oh, I just saw an attack ad last minute that said that he's in an open marriage and that he's cheated on his wife and been unfaithful. I guess I'm not going to vote for him anymore. Like, I don't know how that actually works. Does it work?
But seriously, would you think that all of a sudden that you're going to go, oh, my God, you know, why didn't this come out before? I mean, you've had months to figure this stuff out, and it comes out a week.
Right.
Literally, I mean, what are we, 8 days away from voting?
Right.
7 days, right? So it comes out right now? No, come on. It's just, they're throwing something out there, and it's like what's going on with the Democrats, period. They're throwing anything against the wall, praying something's going to stick.
They are so desperate to turn this state blue. They are so desperate. And with how close it is, I mean, I get it. It's one of those to where you're in the sporting event and you lose at the last minute in the overtime, the last field goal that puts the other team up, and they end up winning in the third overtime, and you fought and you fought and you fought, and you're so close to winning it, and they end up losing it. I mean, that one hurts. And the Democrats, they think that they're really close. The anti-Trump sentiment apparently seems to be working for some. They love to be able to turn everything blue and reverse everything that we've been working. And they're so close. They feel it. They can taste it. The media's hyped them up and whispered in their ears so sensually to tell them that it's going to happen as long as the blue wave continues and we can reverse the Trump agenda. And they've heard this for so long. They can taste it. And if they end up losing, then they're going to lose their minds. This is them, you're right, being backed into the corner and being panicky about them potentially losing a race.
And I'll tell you right now, Dinesh D'Souza has done an absolutely brilliant job with his documentaries about the Democratic Party. Hillary's America, if you haven't seen it, I highly suggest everybody, they should play this on all 3 channels, you know, at some select time that everybody can see it, because I'm telling you, this is what, they have nothing. They haven't had nothing for years, and now they're all they're doing whatever they can to save themselves. And they've dug a hole now that they can't get out of.
Sure.
Feinstein she screwed herself. She was like, you know, oh, I'll just wait till right before he gets confirmed, and then I'll have, I'll throw this out there. Oh yeah, this ballsy Ford lady all of a sudden was really, come on.
You would think after this type of attack, this topic that they bring up, you would think after they try it 2 or 3 or 4 times and it doesn't work, that they would move on to a different way. And they do try it in different ways. And again, maybe this is true. I don't know. But of course, why come out with it last minute of always in the open relationship and the open marriage and been unfaithful to his wife? And maybe you should not vote for the Republican. You know, if you continue to say every Republican is a harasser and sexually harass somebody or rape somebody, if you say that about every Republican, eventually the point and the impact of it gets watered down and people don't pay attention to it anymore. And I think that's about what's happened.
The boy who cried wolf.
The boy who cried wolf.
That's it right there. That's what they're trying to do right there. And it's just not working. So, I pray for the Democrats that they find themselves and they find their soul and they find what they really stand for and quit trying to turn America into the next Russia.
Yep.
If you want that so bad, move. There's a lot of countries that would love to have you go there. I'm sure they have their arms open for more democratic, social, liberal, whatever you want to call them. Wow. But we don't want them here. We have a great country. Quit trying to destroy something that a lot of people have worked very hard to build.
That is very true. Joe, I love it. Appreciate it very much, my friend. Happy Monday to you. Got to take a break. 10 minutes at the top of the hour. This is The Voice of Reason.
The Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
Market update, Mid-America Ag Network. Live cattle futures settled Friday with 50 cent to $1.32 gains thanks to higher cash cattle trade. Feeder cattle futures were 30 to 85 cents in the green. The CME feeder cattle index was back up 36 cents October 25th at 154.01. Wholesale box beef values higher Friday afternoon. Choice boxes were up 37 cents at 213.47. Select boxes were 52 cents higher at 198.83. USDA estimated federally inspected cattle slaughter at 633,000 head through Saturday. That's 8,000 head above the previous week and the same as last year. Lean hog futures ended the week with back months firm, front months $1.15 to $1.82 higher. Nearby December was up 12.26% for the week. The CME lean hog index was down 43 cents from the previous day, 65.03 October the 24th. USDA pork carcass cutout value 58 cents lower at 76.59 in the afternoon report. The national base hog carcass price was up 4 cents at a weighted average of 57.06. Weekly federally inspected hog slaughter estimated at 2.569 million head through Saturday. That's down 20,000 head from the previous week on lighter Saturday kill plans. Refocusing now on corn, soybeans, wheat. Corn futures are about a penny a bushel higher to start the week. Soybean futures are mostly 4 cents a bushel higher so far this morning, and wheat futures are currently trading 1 to 4 cents higher. And Minneapolis, the spring wheat is the strongest so far. Currently, December corn is up 1 at 368 3/4. December KC wheat is up 2 3/4 at 503. March is up 3 at 529 3/4. November soybeans up 4 1/4 at 849 1/4. January beans up 4 3/4 at 862 1/2. Soybean meal and soybean oil are coming along higher as well. Market information from Mid-America Ag Network.
Are you ready to maximize your uptime in the field and save 15% while doing it? This is Leroy the Tractor Man from Schmidt & Sons, offering big savings and special discounts until December 31st on all AGCO PM360 maintenance plans. Bring your equipment into Schmidt & Sons for an AGCO PM360 inspection, inspected by our factory-trained certified technicians, and you will receive peace of mind knowing your equipment will operate at peak performance, minimizing costly repairs, increasing uptime, and improving your trade-in value. Plus, repairs done in our service department entitle you to 1-year warranty on parts and 6 months warranty on labor. Right now, the deal is even sweeter because with your inspection, not only can you receive up to 15% off on AGCO parts, with approved credit, you can receive 0% interest and no payments for 180 days on repairs of $1,000 or more. Give us a call at either the Mount Hope or Winfield location to sign up for the AGCO PM360 maintenance inspection and get the peace of mind you need and deserve all season long. Or find us on the web at schminink.com.
Every day starts better with a good breakfast. It's a fact. Here's another fact. Spears Restaurant and Pie Shop at Maple and Tracy by Town West Mall has, Monday through Friday from 6:30 to 2 p.m., a chalkboard special that'll knock your socks off. Not only is this a full meal breakfast deal Monday through Friday at Spears, but it includes coffee. Here's one example. 2 eggs, bacon, 2 pancakes, and golden hash browns, only $5.95. A different special every Monday through Friday, and they're all only $5.95, including coffee. The Spears Chalkboard Special, Monday through Friday at Spears Restaurant and Pie Shop.
7 minutes to the top of the hour. Welcome back into the Voice of Reason, wrapping up hour number 2. And as you know, it is a Monday. We do this every Monday, brought to you by the AARP, whether it's the Fraud Watch Network, Retirement Calculator, getting involved in the community, or reminding you to go and vote. The AARP's got you. Check them out, aarp.org/KS for the state of Kansas. Maren Turner back on the line with us here. Maren, good morning. How are you today?
Good morning and happy last day of October.
Happy
Monday of
last
October.
day of October. Can you believe it? We are end of October already. Halloween on Wednesday. It is a crazy time indeed. So begins the trifecta of the crazy holidays going into the end of the year.
I know, and I'm looking forward to all of the holiday season gatherings and gala, but it does seem like this year has passed by too quickly.
Mm-hmm. That is very true. Well, you guys, it's always a busy time going into the end of the year as well when it comes to many of the frauds that happen during the holidays and people out shopping, to just trying to reset yourself and plan on the new phase of 2019. What's on the slate for you guys? What are you working on going into the end of the year?
Well, we are beginning to wind down a little bit, but yet we're still very busy. We want to make sure that everybody understands that the cold weather rule begins November the 1st through March 31st, and that's for every year. It basically helps people who are behind on their utility payments to avoid having their utilities disconnected during the winter months. And so if you want more information about that, you can certainly call our office to see if that's something that you're interested in. We have AARP Day at the Atwater on the 20th. We hope people will still come out and spread some holiday cheer and just get to know us better. So, again, that's on the 20th. We're offering some free online Q&A sessions for people who have questions about the marketplace. If you work at a job that does not provide you with insurance and you have to get insurance through the marketplace, we have some information if you'd like to log on. That will be November 7th at 6 p.m. and then again November 8th at 6 p.m. You can log on to our website to find out more about that. And we'll be involved in some Veterans Day activities on the 11th, Spirit Aerospace Veterans Day Parade. We're just going to be everywhere this month.
I love it. Well, good. And that's going to be a really good, as you mentioned, live webinar discussion to have when it comes to the marketplace, because it's crazy. The insurance always seems to change and evolve and adapt regularly, especially when it comes to the political side of what the insurance companies look like and the options that you may have. So understanding it, being able to get signed up, now is the time to do so for the new year. If you need the plan, whether it's through the work or through the family, learn about it now, and that's a great opportunity for you.
Absolutely, and you don't have to be a member. It's a free online opportunity for you to ask the questions that might be lurking in your mind. So, again, that is going to be on November 7th at 6 p.m. and November 8th at 6 p.m. There will be part 1 and part 2. You can log on to our website to get more information at www.aarp.org/KS. And always call us if you need to at 866-448-3619, and that is a toll-free number across the state.
Very good. I love it. Marin Turner with the AARP. Great information stuff coming up. Oh, and we got to remind everybody, next week is the day to vote, and you guys have been doing the Get Out the Vote push as well.
Absolutely. We want people to be the difference. Get out there and vote. Make sure that you're informed on the issue so you can make the best decision for yourself and your family, but definitely get out there and vote. If you can't do it next week, early voting is still possible, and there are lots of ways you can vote. But you got to do it. You got to get out there.
Got to get out there and vote. Very good. Marin Turner with the AARP. We always appreciate it very much. Happy Halloween to you. Enjoy, and we'll chat with you again next Monday as a brand new month comes around the corner.
Thanks, Andy.
Always a pleasure there. Go check them out, aarp.org/KS for the state of Kansas. Wrapping up hour number 2. When we come back, hour number 3, we'll have Sara Slane, the Vice President for Public Affairs, American Gaming Association. It's potentially happening here in Kansas, the legalization of the sports gambling as the federal government loosened up their regulations at the federal level, saying, states, it's up to you, my friends. What are you going to do with it? We'll check in and see how some of the states that have passed it, how they're looking, and the states that potentially could be changing to adapt and legalize the sports gambling at their statewide levels. In Kansas, it's written up. It's potentially ready to go. That may be happening very soon as well. We'll do that and more in hour number 3, plus your phone calls. This is your show. It's time to speak up, speak out, speak loud, speak proud, speak the truth, and always speak some reason. This is The Voice of Reason. Hour number 3 coming up. Stay here.
Would you take a blind taste test? Instead of a brown-colored soda or a beer, let's apply this test to the race for governor. 3 options in our blind test. Ready to begin? Option number 1, a typical politician who claims to know best about education but didn't care enough to serve on the education committee in her 14 years in Topeka. Option 2, a lawyer who has been a politician for almost 20 years and whose policies mirror Sam Brownback's. Option 3, a businessman who has managed billion-dollar organizations and hundreds of employees and who has a track record of success in the private sector. What's your choice? Mine's option 3, the businessman. That's Greg Orman. Greg Orman will grow the Kansas economy and make sure our tax dollars are spent wisely so we can invest in our priorities like education, healthcare, and infrastructure without having to raise taxes. Greg Orman, obviously the best choice to move Kansas forward as governor. Paid for by Orman for Kansas, Tim Owens, Treasurer.
Broadcasting from the Midwest Kia Studios, Midwest Kia in Wichita, we provide what you deserve. This is 102.5 FM and 1480 AM, KQAM, Wichita proud. It's time for your latest news from the KQAM News Center. Brought to you by Augusta Flight Center. Get your dream of learning to fly off the ground at iflyaugusta.com.
Good Monday. Police in Hayesville say a 19-year-old man is dead after a fight outside a Hayesville event venue led to shots being fired over the weekend. KWCH-TV reports that police were called out around 1:45 Sunday morning for a report of shots fired near Broadway and Grand in Hayesville. Upon arrival, police found a large crowd leaving a party at the local venue after a fight had broken out. Police located a man who had been shot. He died at the scene from his injuries. Other agencies are assisting Hayesville in the investigation of the incident. One person was seriously hurt after a shooting in central Wichita early Sunday morning. That incident took place around 1:45 Sunday morning in the 100th block of North Poplar. A victim was taken to the hospital with serious injuries but is expected to recover. The investigation and search for a suspect is ongoing. A Wichita woman has been sentenced to probation and ordered to repay nearly $100,000 that she stole from a man she'd been hired to help. KSN-TV reports that a judge on Friday ordered Amy Jurdes to pay $97,000 in restitution over the next 2 years to the 76-year-old man. The man had hired her to work as a housekeeper. He later gave Jurdes power of attorney so she could help him with banking and other appointments. The offices, which have traditionally been closed on Mondays, are now open 5 days a week. New hours at Kansas driver's license offices are from 8 to 5 Monday through Friday, beginning today. The change also marks the end of Saturday hours, which were available at several offices around Kansas. And Governor Jeff Collier has ordered flags to be flown at half-staff for victims of the deadly shooting that happened Saturday morning at a Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania synagogue. Governor Collier ordered flags to be flown at half-staff from now until sunset October 31st. The order a mark of respect for the victims of the violence at the Tree of Life Synagogue in Pittsburgh. From the news desk, I'm Rick Everett. Now with sports, Doug Downs.
Baseball wrapped up last night as the Boston Red Sox beat the Los Angeles Dodgers 5-1 in Game 5. 4 home runs last night in the game for the Red Sox. Steve Pearce, the MVP, hit 2 of them. The Red Sox clinched the championship in just 5 games. The Kansas City Chiefs beat the Denver Broncos yesterday 30-23. Andy Reid likes the way Kareem Hunt's playing.
He's playing real good football now. I'm having a hard time believing anybody at that position is playing better.
The Chiefs now set their sight on a road trip to Cleveland next Sunday. From the sports desk, I'm Doug Downs.
Yoder Meats has a wide variety of quality meats and a knowledgeable team to help you find just what you're looking for. Whether you're feeding 4 or 40, Yoder Meats has great meat for any occasion. Steaks and burgers to cinnamon rolls and bierox and everything in between. Stop by on your way home or call ahead for big orders. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram for the latest deals and weekly specials. Taste the old-fashioned flavor at Yoder Meats in Yoder and 3 locations in Wichita.
The following alert is from the AARP Fraud Watch Network.
Attention listeners, have you received your new Medicare card yet? Medicare is sending out new and safer cards that no longer have your Social Security number on them. But beware of callers claiming to be from Medicare who say you need to pay for your card. You need to verify your Social Security number, or you have a balance on your old card and they need your banking information to transfer it to you. These are all scams. All you need to do is wait for your free card to come in the mail. To learn how to protect yourself from frauds and scams, visit aarp.org/fraudwatchnetwork.
Before we know it, we'll be scraping windshields and working on year-end things. What are you wearing? Life gets away from us sometimes, like the annual eye exam that your insurance company all but pays for. Waring and Fiegel Optometry at 21st and Tyler is a full-scope professional optometry practice. At Waring and Fiegel Optometry, new patients are welcome. Don't let the benefits of your insurance, let alone the benefits of healthy vision, get away from you. Waring and Fiegel Optometry, 21st and Tyler.
Now, back to the KQAM News Desk. In Pittsburgh, Robert Bowers, arrested on charges he shot and killed 11 worshipers at a synagogue Saturday, will face a judge today with prosecutors seeking permission to try for the death penalty. And correspondent Jessica Dean tells us there's controversy about a high-level visit there.
President Trump has said he plans to visit Pittsburgh sometime this week, but a group of progressive Jewish leaders wrote a letter saying he's not welcome here unless he denounces white nationalism.
Rescue crews are battling rough seas as they seek survivors in the crash of a Lion Air jetliner off Jakarta, Indonesia. All 189 persons on board feared lost. Some 8,500 students are rushing to finish their coursework at Virginia College, a multi-state unaccredited for-profit college that is closing down 17 campuses to stave off creditors. A new caravan, 300 people, has departed El Salvador heading to the U.S. Homeland Security Secretary Kirstjen Nielsen warning, "Do not come, you will not be allowed in." I'm Michael Toscano.
Your local weather on KQAM. Brought to you by Maximum Outdoor Equipment. All equipment outdoors, from lawnmowers to snowblowers. Just south of Kellogg on West Street and online at MaximumOutdoor.com.
Here's your latest forecast on the Big Talker KQAM for this morning. Sunny and 73, wind gusts over 20 miles an hour. Tonight, increasing clouds and 58, 20-mile-an-hour wind gusts, and a 20% chance of rain after midnight. 30% chance for tomorrow before lunch, mostly cloudy and 63. I'm Amp Harrell, and that's your latest forecast on Wichita's big station, the Big Talker, AM 1480 and 102.5 FM KQAM.
At 8:06, it's currently 42 degrees.
Broadcasting from the Rusty Eck Ford Studios, this is the Big Talker, 1480 AM and 102.5 FM KQAM. It's time for Reason.
They want the endorsements because they don't want to look as radical as what they actually are. And the Republicans that are endorsing them, they are showing not as a member of the Republican Party, but as an individual who is so desperate to fit in with the fads, with the trends. It's the retro thing to do, man. And I'm the Republican that supports the Democrat who hates the Republican agenda. This is the latest campaign because they can't win any other way.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
Then I'll get on my knees and pray. We don't get fooled again. Don't get fooled again.
Oh, that's what I'm talking about. Welcome into the Voice of Reason, hour number 3 of the Voice of Reason, broadcasting live out of the heart of the nation here in Wichita, Kansas, on the Big Talker, 1480 on the AM side, 102.5 on the FM side, KQAM, simulcasting as well on TV, KGPT TV channel 2610, which I hear they still don't have any sound, but I know they may be working on, so hopefully that gets fixed here relatively soon. We are on YouTube Live, though, as well. Find youtube.com, find KQAM Radio, subscribe to the page. You can see the live feed going on right now, and they do have audio on YouTube. It is a Monday morning. Yeah, we're a week away from midterms, baby. It is the biggest time that we could be excited for. It is time for elections. Who are you voting for? We got a lot of candidates coming on the show throughout this week. It's going to be good.
Let's get it started in here. Let's get it started. Let's get it started in here. Let's get it started. Let's get it started in here. Let's get it started. Let's get it started.
That's what I'm talking about. 316-721-8255. 316-721-TALK. If you're going to join into the program, we'd love to hear from you. No matter what may be on your mind, we've covered a lot of ground this morning. Lots more to get to, but I want to shift gears, not just the candidates, but also we like to talk about policy. We like to talk about different things that may be happening in our legislative session, what's happening at the federal level, and whether it's good or not for the state. And on the phone with us here, this is an issue. If you remember, earlier this year, the federal government ended up deregulating sports gambling and said, hey, states, it's up to you, baby. Do whatever you want to. And there are many states that's already passed this. There are many states where the legislation is ready to go, like the state of Kansas. So if we decide to go down this road, and we want to legalize sports betting and sports gambling, if we want to bring in the potential additional revenue to the state of Kansas, which, look, I've been a fan of this for a while. I don't know why that we haven't legalized sports gambling. To me, it makes no sense why we haven't. But if we're going to, what's going to be happening? And there's many states that started to do this as well, including New Jersey, even Oklahoma. And to talk about some of that and more, I'm excited to have her on. She is the Vice President of Public Affairs for the American Gaming Association. Sara Slane is on the line with us here. Sara, good morning to you. How are you?
Hi, good morning. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
I'm good.
I appreciate you coming on the show very much. You guys have been busy, but what's the latest? How is this so far over the last few months where many states have implemented this? Has it been a positive or a negative for their states, do you think? Because it sounds like they're bringing in a decent amount of revenue.
Yeah, no, it's been a whirlwind, that's for sure. The Supreme Court ruled back in May that, as you noted, that the states can move forward and have sports betting if they so choose. And so we've seen a handful of states moving forward and enacting legislation that enables them to have legal, regulated sports betting. And it's interesting because I think what happens now is this is a competition among the states to get the gaming program up to speed. And so you see states like West Virginia moving forward with sports betting, and I think that kind of lights the fire then for the District of Columbia and Maryland and Virginia to consider something similar. So 2019 will be, I think, a watershed moment for this industry and for sports betting.
It sounds like it. I mean, New Jersey, Oklahoma, a few other states have been working on this. Now, this is gambling for any type of sport, correct? Whether we're talking about college, NFL, professional, it doesn't matter. This is any type of sports gambling.
Yeah, so each state has their own unique program. So in New Jersey, for example, they've had legal sports betting now for about 2 months, a little over 2 months, I should say, and they've decided that they will not take bets on college athletics in the state. So those teams that are there, so like the Rutgers of the world. Mm-hmm. So each state has its own unique platform. But yes, with the Supreme Court's ruling, it does empower the states then to move forward and create the program that's best for them.
How much money has this brought in for New Jersey already? Are you able to track that over just a few months?
Yeah, so it's been interesting. I want to say that they had brought in their first real month with sports happening. So they got up and running in August, and then they reported you had August, September, reported September tax revenues back, and I think it was around $23 million. So about $183 million in handle. So being wagered totally, and then around $23 million then back to the state that they were able to recapture. So it's early. It's too early to tell kind of, what the bigger impact will be over the long run, given that they've only been up and running for the past couple months. They're still working on their mobile platform. Sure. They do have operators that are up and doing that. But, we'll see over the course of the next year now with a full set of different seasons what that really translates to.
Sure. Absolutely. And I tell you what, I guess they were smart on their end trying to do it right before the NFL season, I guess, because it's kind of a big time there. Now, as you mentioned, many states are doing it in different ways of their own. But for New Jersey example, can they bet on any team in the country, or does it just have to be New Jersey teams that they can do this? Or how is it done for some of these?
No, every state, you have the ability to bet on any team that you want to bet on. So that would extend across state lines. And again, it's really looking at what's in the best interest of the state. But I would argue, if you want to have a successful sports betting platform, you really have to compete with the illegal market. And as you know, the illegal market isn't paying taxes. They certainly don't have consumer protections in place. So states really do need to look at this from a consumer perspective and how you're going to empower then the legal regulated market to compete with the illegal operator. Sure. And in order to do that, you've got to be able to offer good odds. And so if you have high tax rates and you're limiting the bets that can be taken, that's going to push people still to the illegal market, and you want to recapture that.
Well, that's true. I mean, yeah, just taxing it at insanely high rates is not going to make people more enticed to do that if they can do a black market still for cheaper. And the whole idea is to be able to push it out into the open. What were some of the concerns with this? And I mean, I know we've talked about different teams or athletes themselves betting against themselves or for themselves. Is there still laws about the actual people participating in or involved with, whether it's a coach or a team member or a team owner, placing bets for or against the teams that they're involved with, so that way there's no dirtiness in the sports, and then it turns out to be that people are taking dives sort of thing like they used to in boxing quite a bit because the gambling was so heavily involved?
Yeah, and at the end of the day, this is where we have alignment with the leagues and the players' associations. We're in this together. We are the bookie. We have money that is on the line every time that we offer a bet. And so anything that's suspicious that's happening with bets is something that we obviously have skin in the game because we have to pay people out. So It is of utmost concern and a priority to promote the integrity of the game, to promote the integrity of the bet. So it's something that we again, we're partners. I view with the leagues and with players' associations in combating that.
Sure. We're talking with Sara Slane, Vice President of Public Affairs for the American Gaming Association. Talk about your association and kind of your guys' involvement on how you handle this, and as more states come on board with the sports gambling and betting, kind of what your guys' role is and how to make everything so the continuity between all of it to make all the states flow as efficiently as they can.
Yeah, so the American Gaming Association represents the commercial, tribal, and supplier community for casino gaming. So we really do view our role as educating legislators and policymakers about the industry. And as I said, we have a very big focus on making sure that whatever legislation is being considered, it does take into account that shutting down the illegal market, and that what's being put forth, there's reasonable tax rates, that there isn't a limitation then on the kinds of bets that are allowed to be offered. We are opposed to the league's proposed integrity fee, again, because we do view that as cutting into our ability to compete with the illegal market. So those are some of the key tenets that we advocate on and educate legislators about as they consider legislation.
Sure. How many states do you know of right now that are working on legislation or maybe very close to passing it here in the next few months?
Yeah, it's been interesting because this is the big million-dollar question, or what are the next states, and can you prognosticate about that? I have to say that I've been completely surprised. New Mexico just opened a sports book through one of their tribes. Washington, D.C. is very close to probably enacting legislation by the end of this year. So there's been a couple just random states, territories that I don't think were on anyone's radar screen. And what's been interesting is that some of the states that don't even have gaming are considering sports betting. So we'll see kind of where this all heads. But I expect, Indiana, there'll be probably a big push in the Midwest. Indiana, Illinois, Ohio, as well as here in the Mid-Atlantic. As I said, so Washington, D.C. is moving forward. I know Maryland's been talking about this for quite some time. Virginia, same thing. Pennsylvania has enacted legislation. West Virginia has enacted legislation. So, again, I think, as more states come on line, it does put pressure then on the surrounding states to compete and keep up.
That's really interesting. As you mentioned, kind of the big snow wave that's going to happen here with all these different states getting excited about it. And here's the big question. Is this going to affect everybody that likes to go to Las Vegas for all their gambling needs? Is it really going to make Las Vegas potentially one of those places to where, you really don't need to go there anymore because you got your gambling right there in your home state if you choose to do so?
Las Vegas is a international tourist destination. Right now, sports betting makes up less than 2% of their gross gaming revenue, so it's a very tiny piece of their business, albeit important, and they've invested hundreds of millions of dollars into beautiful sports books, and they have online mobile platform now that's doing really, really well. But it really is it's a tourist destination. Majority of the revenue now, actually in Nevada and in Las Vegas, is from the non-gaming amenities. So that's really coming from the hotel, food and entertainment, the shows that everyone loves to see, retail. So when we looked at this as an industry back in 2015, our Las Vegas operators felt comfortable that if this were to go beyond Nevada, that it wouldn't impact their bottom line.
Sure. Sara Slane, Vice President of Public Affairs for American Gaming Association. It's really interesting to see how all these states are going to move forward with this in one way or another. As we mentioned, Kansas being potentially one of those that could do this in the next legislative session. I think depending on how these midterm elections turn out and what their priorities are as they go back into the session in January. But do you see Kansas legalizing this here soon?
Yeah, again, I'm not close enough on the ground to offer, I think, a good assessment of what could happen. But I do know that obviously it seems like things were progressing pretty well. The last legislative session, that it looks like Kansas will obviously have another conversation about this. So I think it'll be interesting to see sort of what's happening with surrounding states. And, whether or not then that, puts a little bit of pressure then on Kansas legislators to move forward to compete.
Sure. Well, and it sounds like Oklahoma's been kind of the trendsetter lately with them wanting to move forward with this as well, along with their medical marijuana that they just legalized as well. So they're kind of the experimental mid-state in the country right now, and we'll see how much of an impact they have with us just being just north of them. Sara, it's always a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
It's a really
Thanks for having
fascinating
me.
one. Yeah, we'd love to get you back on again here real soon.
That sounds great. Thank you so much.
Very good. Thank you. That's Sara Slane again with the American Gaming Association. We'll take a break, open up lines so you get your thoughts on this. Should we legalize sports gambling and betting here in Kansas, or should that one still be on the big no-no list? We'll get your thoughts when we come back. This is The Voice of Reason.
You're listening to The Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
Midterm election 2018 is upon us, and your home for the latest news is right here on the Big Talker KQAM. Join myself, Andy Hoosier, during The Voice of Reason from now until Election Day as we talk to candidates, cover the latest news, and break down each of the races. Plus, join the Big Talker KQAM on Election Night as we give you the latest numbers as they come in. From county commission to congressional seats, your source for election 2018 is the Big Talker KQAM.
Brought to you in part by MJ's Truck Repair of Mound Ridge and Trailers and More at 433 North Maze Road.
We all know to watch out for email phishing scams. But what are the top brands spoofed by scammers? And what are the most popular days they send out their bogus email? The answers will surprise you. Kim Commando with your Monday Consumer Tech Update. Get the best night's sleep ever, guaranteed. Casper.com, promo code Kim. Vade Secure published their annual phishing report and revealed the top 5 spoofed brand scammers used to steal your money. On the list, Microsoft, PayPal, Netflix, Bank of America, and Wells Fargo. And scammers are now marketers, sending fake emails on specific days to increase chances of success. Microsoft phishing emails peak on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Netflix phishing attacks happen during the weekend. And banking phishing attacks peak Saturdays and Sundays. Very clever. Bank customer support lines are typically closed on the weekends, making it harder for the targets to verify the authenticity of a bank phishing email. I'm Kim Commando. Everyone knows sleep is important, especially for your health. The mattress you sleep on affects whether you'll have a good night's rest or not. And that's why I want to tell you about my new Casper Sleep mattress. I sleep cool and comfortable every night, thanks to the unique combination of foams that provide the right pressure relief and alignment. And I know that once you try Casper, you're going to love yours as much as I love mine. Switching to Casper is a no-brainer. It's a high-quality mattress at an affordable price. Casper ships right to your door for free in a small, how did they do that size box? And if you don't love it, they'll pick it up and refund you everything. Sleeping on a mattress is the best way to try it. Put Casper to the test in your own home for 100 nights, risk-free. Go to Casper.com and use promo code Kim for $50 towards the purchase of select mattresses. That's Casper.com, promo code Kim, and get $50 towards the purchase of select mattresses. Terms and conditions apply. That's Casper.com, promo code Kim.
Hi, this is Phil Martinez at Phil's Coins. At the shop, we talk all the time about honesty and integrity. And in our shop, we've decided that honesty means nothing without integrity. So what I would tell you is that if you didn't bring your coins to Phil's Coins, honestly, you didn't get enough money for what you have. Come see us at Phil's Coins, 9344 West Central, or online at philscoins.com.
The Miller Minute with Dennis Miller.
I want to talk about the most important day on the calendar every year. No, not Election Day. I'm talking about something that really matters, the return of the McRib, which is brilliantly only available for a limited time. If you could have it any day of the year, whenever you got a hankering, you would probably skip it in favor, I don't know, going somewhere that serves actual baby back ribs. On top of the limited time, they also limit the supply. 14,000 something McDonald's in the United States, only 9,000 carry the McRib. The manufactured scarcity is truly brilliant. It's like Beanie Babies. The simple fact that you have to act now because otherwise you may have to wait until next year to get one is genius. So you actually get one and bam, it all comes rushing back. That it's really an average barbecue meat sandwich, not actually barbecued, and its classification as meat is particularly generous. And that's the minute. I'm Dennis Miller. If you or a loved one struggles with leg or foot cramps, you've got to try TheraWorks Relief. This non-greasy foam is proven to relieve muscle cramps fast, and with daily use, TheraWorks Relief can even prevent muscle cramps, so you can get a full night's sleep or do activities you love without worry. TheraWorks Relief only takes minutes to apply, absorbs quickly, and it works. TheraWorks Relief is my choice for preventing and relieving muscle cramps. Get TheraWorks Relief today in the pain relief aisle at Walmart, CVS, Rite Aid, Walgreens, or at TheraWorksRelief.com.
Renowned medical correspondent and endurance race champion Bob Arnott, MD.
People ask me, how do you keep competing at the age of 70? Healthy living is important, but so is pain relief. If you have pain, you can't train. So I'm thrilled I discovered Salonpas Lidocaine Plus. This unique topical pain reliever contains 2 safe and effective anesthetics. Nothing has worked better for me.
Salonpas Lidocaine Plus, cream or roll-on.
26 minutes past the hour. Welcome back into The Voice of Reason. Happy Monday morning to you. Thanks again to Sara Slane coming on the show from the American Gaming Association. Great information, great insight, and it seems like already some states really enjoying the benefits from that sports gambling and betting. New Jersey being the first one, and being a few months into it already, right for NFL season, I think is relatively appropriate, bringing in $183 million in tax receipts already just in the first in a 1 month's time. So we'll see how far it goes and how long that stays. I know there's always the hype and excitement beforehand, and then it kind of dies off and kind of plateaus. So we'll see. I don't know, but is that something that we should start looking at as a state of Kansas? I'm not quite sure. Your thoughts, 316-721-8255. Hey, I want to remind you, a week from today, not only is it going to be the day before Election Day, which is really, really important, but also starting next week, we're going to be we do this every single year. It's been going on for a long time, but our KQAM KGSO Turkey Drop. Yeah, you remember that? We do it every year. We give you the opportunity to win yourself a Thanksgiving turkey. Yeah, you heard that right. A full-on Thanksgiving turkey for your Thanksgiving celebration. We're going to give you an opportunity to do so. Presented by Yoder Meats this year. You can visit them, yodermeatsks.com. They have 3 locations in Wichita, 1 in Yoder. Here's what's going to happen. Not now, but starting next week on Monday, we are going to do our turkey drop. We have our list of great businesses that partner up with us on this. We give you 3 options for the day, and you have to guess which one the turkey drops on. If you remember the old skit, the old radio skit, it was the helicopter's flying. Oh, no, what's that? It's falling out of the sky. Oh, my gosh, they're turkeys. And it's the turkey that's dropping out of the helicopter. Well, we're going to have our very own KQAM helicopter, and it's going to be flying around the south central Kansas area, and it's going to randomly drop a turkey on a business. We give you 3 of the options. You guess which one it is. If you get it right, you get a free turkey, a complimentary turkey from Yoder Meats. If you lose, then we go to somebody else until you get it, and you have a 1 in 3 chance every day. So, you know what? It's going to land on one of our participating sponsors each morning, and you have an opportunity to win yourself a Thanksgiving turkey. We're going to start that next week, again, presented by Yoder Meats and all of our great, wonderful sponsors that are partnering up with us on that promotion. Get ready for it. Turkey drop as we get closer and closer. Halloween's 2 days away. Thanksgiving is just a month away. Can you believe it? We'll do that starting next week. 316-721. Oh, by the way, and speaking of promotions, we are wrapping up. It's just a couple of days left. If you want to try and go sneak in a holiday and go to the haunted house maybe, or go get some pumpkins. I ended up carving our pumpkins last night, and I have to say, for someone who, for me, I'm not very artistic. I still draw stick people when I try and draw because I'm terrible at drawing. I have to say that once a year, my creativity comes out, and I feel very proud of my pumpkin carving abilities. I'll take some pictures. I'll put it on Facebook tonight, but get your thoughts on my pumpkin carving ability that I have. But every year, once a year, I have the awesome ability all of a sudden of, hey, I'm an artistic kind of fool. I'm really not, because I'm not very artistic. I'm creative, I think, to make the show half entertaining. But I would say that I'm not a very good drawer in any way, shape, or form, until we get to carve pumpkins. And I think I did a pretty good job. We did 2 of them this year, and I ended up carving those last night. But if you want to go to the pumpkin patches, if you want to go to the haunted houses, all you got to do is join our Spookfest 2018. Go to kqmradio.com. Right on the homepage, you'll see our promotions. You'll see Spookfest. You'll see our great sponsors with Jack's North High Carryout, Joaquin Family and Cosmetic Dentistry, and Rancho Nuevo Mexican Restaurant. You'll see those guys. You'll see the list of every pumpkin patch and haunted house in the South Central Kansas area. Click on the link. It'll send you right to their website with information and location and details on what you can do. Join now because you only got a couple days left until Halloween before it's all said and done with our Spookfest 2018 right here with KQAM. Open line to you when we come back. Bottom of the hour news. This is The Voice of Reason on KQAM.
Here's the latest from the KQAM News Center.
Rabbi Jeffrey Myers of the Tree of Life in Pittsburgh alerted authorities to the synagogue shooting where 11 people were killed.
I called 911. From what I've been told, I was the first caller, and I stayed on the phone for about 20 minutes. It seemed like an eternity until SWAT extricated me from a safe space in choir loft and escorted me out of the building because they had not apprehended the shooter at that point.
Shooting suspect Robert Gregory Bowers is set to appear in federal court today. Federal authorities uncovered package bomb suspect Cesar Sayoc's ID with DNA fingerprint clues soon after the explosive surfaced. He's scheduled to appear before a judge in Miami later today. In Indonesia, 6 bodies have been recovered from the sea where a passenger plane with nearly 200 on board crashed shortly after takeoff. The Lion Air jet was a new Boeing 737. I'm John Trout.
I'm Jay Farner, CEO of Quicken Loans, America's premier home purchase lender. We've created a new way to protect you from unpredictable interest rates. Our exclusive Rate Shield approval. First, we lock your interest rate for up to 90 days. Then, if rates go up, your rate stays locked. But if rates go down, your rate drops. Either way, you win. Call us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to rocketmortgage.com.
Rate Shield approval only valid on certain 30-year fixed-rate loans. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030. Additional conditions or exclusions may apply.
There's a time and a place for black and white. Like when you're learning to play piano. Or when you want a big two-toned cookie. Or when shopping for a pet zebra. But if you want to attract customers, there's no room for black and white. So go to Staples. Staples specializes in bold, hard-to-miss color printing. And now at Staples, get 20% back in rewards on color printing. From banners to brochures and copies to presentations. Print more color, save more money at Staples.
In store only. Ends 11/10/18. Restrictions apply. See store associate or staples.com/20back for details.
Kansas Mid-America Network News. Good Monday. Authorities say a man was fatally shot outside an event venue near Wichita after a party over the weekend. Police in Hayesville said in a news release that officers responded around 1:45 Sunday morning. Police found a large crowd leaving the party after a fight had broken out. They also located a victim with gunshot wounds who died at the scene. The name of the victim wasn't immediately released, and no arrests have yet been made. An unusual NASA aircraft is coming to Wichita's Dwight D. Eisenhower National Airport next Wednesday. The Super Guppy, which gets its name for resembling a giant fish, is set to pick up and transport restored historic Apollo 11 mission control consoles back to the Johnson Space Center in Houston. KWCH-TV reports the pickup is in Wichita, the restoration taking place in Hutchinson. Kansas Mid-America Network News.
Authentic menu items prepared fresh 7 days a week. And recipes with a deep family heritage of excellence. Those are just 2 of the ingredients that make La Hacienda Restaurant the best of the best when it comes to real taste of Mexico. Conveniently located in West Wichita at 5905 West Kellogg, La Hacienda is proud to be this year's host of the Bishop Carroll Coaches Show, Monday evenings from 6 to 7. Daily menu or drink specials and dinner-friendly hours beginning at 11 a.m. daily. The real taste of Mexico. La Hacienda, 5905 West Kellogg.
Solid values, broad experience, and judicial temperament, critical for judges, and why you should vote for Republican Roger Woods for judge in Sedgwick County Division 7. Roger Woods has a record of protecting the constitutional rights of citizens, both inside and outside the courtroom. Roger Woods has lived in Sedgwick County for nearly 2 decades and is committed to keeping it a safe place to live and raise families. In fact, Roger has received the endorsement of the Friends of the Fraternal Order of Police. Roger Woods is a lifelong Kansan, an Army veteran with 27 years in active and National Guard service, including 4 deployments to the Middle East. His range of experience, both inside and outside of the courtroom, gives him a wide perspective to serve and make a positive difference in our community. Treating people with fairness and respect is a way of life for Roger. He won't forget that every case is the most important case to the people involved. On November 6th, vote for Republican Roger Woods for judge.
This is Roger Woods. Please visit woodsforjudge.org, and I would appreciate your vote on November 6th. Paid for by Woods for Judge, T-Chet Compton, Treasurer.
Here's your latest forecast on the Big Talker KQAM for this morning. Sunny and 73, wind gusts over 20 miles an hour. Tonight, increasing clouds and 58, 20-mile-an-hour wind gusts, and a 20% chance of rain after midnight. 30% chance for tomorrow before lunch, mostly cloudy and 63. I'm Amp Harrell, and that's your latest forecast on Wichita's big station, the Big Talker, AM 1480 and 102.5 FM KQAM.
At 8:35, it's currently 45 degrees.
Growing radio show in Kansas.
What? How's he do that?
That's what I'm talking about.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
Oh, baby, welcome into it. It's great to have you along for the ride today on a Monday, 316-721-8255. It's open lines to you for the last half hour of the program. I got 2 questions for you. Number 1, should we legalize sports gambling in the state of Kansas? Number 2, here's the crazy thing about it. And I've been kind of mulling this over, and because you're going to get it. We're going to get a comment of, oh, you agree with legalization of that, don't agree with legalization of other things. Even she had concerns. We talked to Sara Slane, the American Gaming Association, and even admitted that if we're going to do this, you got to make sure that it's going to be competitive enough to get rid of the black market. And other industries, other things that have been legalized, have been taxed to such an insane amount that it never got rid of the black market. Never did, because people are going to look for the cheapest price of goods, and if it's still really expensive because the government now has legalized it but now is taxing it to an insane amount, then it's not going to be worth actually purchasing. So if you're going to legalize sports gambling, are you going to still do it in a nice little closed room to where it's going to be all quiet in the black market and it's going to lead to bad things, or are you going to allow it to where it's actually competitive in the market, to where it's not about the government benefiting more so than the people benefiting from it? That's the big question. And that's really what it comes down to with any type of legalization of anything, is whether it's going to be beneficial to the people or beneficial to the government. And I think that's where that silver lining's been crossed too many times, and we think it's for us when it's not really for us, but it's for the government instead of us, and then we run into issues and the unintended consequences of what happens beyond there. So the curiosity has piqued my interest. What's your thoughts? 316-721-8255. Should we be legalizing sports gambling in the state, and should we be taxing it in order for it to be gaining state revenue? Because that's their argument, right? The state revenue, we're going to get state revenue from this. That's great. But how much state revenue should we be getting from it, as opposed to how much should we try not to get from it, because we actually want to entice people to do it without taxing them to death? Your thoughts on it, and the phones are lit up, so let's go right to them, shall we? Line number 1. Good morning. What's your name?
Good morning, Andy. It's Nick.
Nick, what's going on, sir?
Well, I just wanted to I'm doing well, and how are you?
I'm living the dream, my friend. It's good to talk to you.
Got to get that banter done. Black market for cigarettes. Is there one or isn't there one?
Not that I know of.
So there's nobody dealing cigarettes outside of the arena of retail sales.
I don't know. It wouldn't, to some degree, though. It wouldn't surprise me, though, with how crazy expensive cigarettes have gotten. I don't know.
Right, and so there's also the principle of people going across state lines to, say, Oklahoma or Missouri for cheaper cigarettes or beer or gasoline or whatever the case may be.
Or even licensing their vehicles with their tags.
Or even licensing their vehicles. So there is the balance there.
Sure.
But again, and always, as we talked about, we're talking about principles. The principles of conservatism, which are just that, limited government, individual liberty, and all that other good stuff. So we need to prioritize what we're going to say. Otherwise, we're going to find ourselves saying, well, let's just make anything illegal that's even potentially harmful to a person, whether it be a can of soda, gambling, or any other green leafy substance or anything like that, because you as an individual can't handle the responsibility of, having these things at access.
Sure.
So, I think that there has to be a balance. And as far as, what the state wants to do, that's what the state wants to do. When it comes to things like what the federal government is supposed to do, immigration and security and all that good stuff, then we go the federal route. But anything else, to the states, my friend.
No, I'm with you, and I think look, I've been a strong advocate to legalize sports gambling for a long time because, it'll bring in a little bit of revenue, but you're right. I mean, why? I don't even understand why we've tried to ban it. You're not allowed to bet. Really? You're going to bet. I mean, I was just talking across the aisle just in the last couple of breaks with the sports guys, and they, of course, try and give me a hard time for Chris Kobach and how they don't think he's going to win. And I said, all right, let's make a bet, and we'll make a bet of, a pizza of who we think's going to win. And I mean, people do that. People are going to gamble. People are going to bet. I don't know why that we think we need to ban betting because it's going to be some bad thing. Now, I do see the potential manipulation of the actual game because we've already had players that bet on themselves or against themselves and they take a dive or they end up losing intentionally. Oops, I dropped the ball. Don't know what happened there. And we end up getting rigged sporting events, which I am not a fan of. And that's really what ruined the sport of boxing. And boxing's trying to come back from that, but it still happens on occasion. And I don't like seeing that type of stuff. So we need to be very careful when we do it to make sure that the individuals actually involved in the actual sport are not the ones being involved in the gambling, because then that leads to more of like a WWE scene to where we already know the outcome of it before it actually happens, as opposed to an actual legit sporting event.
Absolutely. Well, I think it's a wonderful conversation to have, and I know you got other lines, so I would say take some other calls and see what other people have to say.
Hey, very good, Nick. I appreciate the call, my friend. Happy Monday to you. No, it's a great conversation to have, and I think we should. We just, again, the unintended consequences. Are we going to think this one through and actually plan on it accordingly, or are we just going to jump in and be like, hey, we just want to do it, so we did it? Because that seems to be the trend that we've seen on some of the other issues that have been legalized as of lately. Let's just jump in and do it to say we did it, and then hell with the consequences. And I don't want to go down that road, so let's plan on it accordingly. Line number 2, let's go to it. Good morning. What's your name? Hello.
Hello.
Hey, good morning. How are you?
I'm fine.
Good.
I was just going to say something, and it's not about the betting
or
the sports thing, but these people, these Republicans that are voting for the Democrat, they are just a bunch of hypocrites.
That is very true, and that's they are a hypocrite because they don't.
Well, they've pretended all this time to be something that they are not, and they have lost all credibility as for small government and all these things that are supposed to be the Republican.
Sure.
Yeah,
the Republican platform. You're right.
Well, they've lost all their credibility. They need to go and register as a Democrat.
They probably should. Now, they've realized that there are so few Democrats in the state of Kansas that what you do is you register as a Republican, you run as a Republican, and then you do Democrat things under a Republican name.
But they're not Republican.
Oh, yeah. You're absolutely right. Absolutely. And we need to start realizing that. And it's funny how the Democrats are so excited to say how they got a Republican endorsement to try and show that they're bipartisan, but you and I see right through that. We don't fall for that.
They're not Republicans, and these governors, who would have thought that they were all socialistic, for heaven's sake?
Well, there are many of those that seem to fall that way on the aisle. I appreciate that very much. You're absolutely right. I mean, it doesn't really matter. Let them say that they endorse a Democrat. All it does is expose them for being the non-Republican that they always were. They just are showing their true colors. It's really fascinating to me, whether it's the Donald Trump environment, whether it's the push now that conservatism is on the rise again, and it's really starting to expose many who have pretended to be Republicans for a really long time, that have fallen under the Republican umbrella, are now so upset with the Republicans because we've gone conservative that they still try and hype it up, but yet they endorse Democrats and Democratic candidates. And I find that absolutely fascinating that in today's time, I guess it's a good sign, we're beginning to expose individuals for what they actually believe. And when they don't fall under the Republican umbrella in any way, shape, or form, then we can expose them for that. Let's go back to it. Line number 3. Good morning. What's your name?
Morning, Andy. It's Sue.
Good morning, Sue. How are you?
I'm doing great. Hope you're doing great.
Absolutely.
As far as the gambling thing goes, it's pretty obvious that, once you put in the lottery, it opens the door for the casinos, which opens the door for the sports betting.
Sure.
And, I'm not a gambler, but I don't really have a problem with it if people want to do that.
Sure.
I think it's obvious that the state of Kansas is going to do the same thing with the sports betting they did with the casinos if they pass it, and that is they'll have state-owned bookies, and they'll just hire somebody to run it for them. But, you know, to me, the biggest problem is that it's all this money, this cash cow. You know, we have this fund out there, and you can't get a good answer from anybody in Topeka about, you know, the rules of the money, what they're actually doing with the money. We've had embezzlement problems. We've had slush fund problems. You know, we've had all kinds of things going on with this fund that's supposed to be earmarked for economic development, yet
Sure.
we see that the state's been stagnant for years, and they're not really doing anything to bring anybody in here.
Well, they need it for education. They had to borrow the money for education.
Well, you know, if it's going to be a fund that's going to have rules about its use, then it shouldn't be a slush fund like every other fund in the coffers up there, the highway fund, et cetera.
Right.
But I still think that if they're going to have this huge amount of money coming in, that's the answer for the Medicaid expansion. That's the answer for a lot of these issues. Instead of expanding Medicaid and letting it become something that between that and education will eat up every dollar we have in Topeka, let's have some block grants. Let's have a way that different organizations and rural hospitals and whomever can solicit the fund to get money to help them, to prop them up, you know. That makes a lot more sense to me.
Well, that would make sense. Now, the big question is, again, is how are they going to set this, as you mentioned? Is it going to be a state bookie, where it sounds like that's how kind of New Jersey did it? It's a state-sanctioned thing through some of the casinos or through the apps or websites, however they're doing this, and you can do the state gambling. If that's what they're going to do here, then that's fine. But again, we need to just look at the numbers, or what kind of tax are they going to put on this? I mean, we ran out horse and dog racing in the state of Kansas because we put too high of a tax on it, because the casinos were losing money because all the gamblers were going and seeing the horse and dog racing as opposed to going to the casino. So are we going to do this through the casino? Is it going to be a competitive rate to where it's going to be worth it? Or is it still going to be so high that people just still do it black market and the state's not going to receive anything and it's a big failure? I mean, we need to make sure that we plan this appropriately.
Well, you know, we see these commercials all the time in Oklahoma, all these casinos saying, you know, that the Kansas slots are tight and all this and that. Come to Oklahoma, we have loose slots. Well, Kansas is just kind of known for wanting to ride the coattails of big city ideology, but always implementing it in a way to where they shoot themselves in the foot. That's kind of the way I see it. So I don't know. I think that probably at some point it'll go through and it will end up being something that'll be run and manipulated by the state government. You know, earlier you had the question about why do the Democrats always go back to the immorality claims against their opponents. And here's my answer for that, just briefly. They know, once again, that the party platform is a platform of morality. They know that the Republican Party is supposed to be the party of Christianity.
Sure.
And so they're always assuming that people will be shocked and appalled when they make these claims, and therefore they'll either stay home or they'll go vote for a Democrat.
Because
what
someone
they don't
acted
know
human.
is, because they're not Christians, that the Bible says to render unto Caesar what is Caesar's, which means you still have to live in this world. You still have to deal with the governmental things and politics and all of those things that affect your life, but those are kind of separate from your Christianity. You're forced to do it. You're forced to participate in it. You do the best you can. You make the best choice you can as a Christian, but you can't hold non-Christians accountable for Christian morality.
That's true. And I mean, not to mention the fact that if you are Christian, you realize that everybody makes mistakes, and therefore you can't judge someone based on one incident in their life, whether they've turned it around, whether they fixed things, or whether it was just a one-time mistake, or whether it was a continuous thing, because you don't know these candidates personally. But the fact that they always go to that every single time, I just kind of chuckle, because you're right. I mean, you would think that it would be more impactful if all of a sudden the Democrats go on the attack and say, hey, Steve Watkins, or let's say Chris Kobach, for example, Chris Kobach is going to raise your taxes. Everybody that's voting for him to lower taxes is going to be like, maybe I should look into this a little bit more and see what he's doing, because that would probably have more of an impact than saying Chris Kobach was unfaithful to his wife. Okay, we can't prove that. He's going to deny it. Whether it's true or not, I don't know, but he's going to lower my taxes, so there we have it.
Exactly.
Yeah. I agree, Sue. I appreciate that very much. I mean, again, Democrats, you're trying to go down the same tunnel over and over and over again. It's getting watered down. It's getting less important, and people are having less of an impact of it. You can't go after Steve Watkins now. If you did miss it in the last hour, Steve Watkins, a Republican candidate for the 2nd Congressional District, now under attack for the October surprise that he is in an open marriage, that he has had sexual misconduct of advancing towards other women while he's been married, which, if you remember, he's only been married for like 3 months now, because we talked to him the week after he got married during the primary race. And, I don't know, maybe they had a long engagement and he was unfaithful then, or they had an open engagement. I don't know, but they're attacking him. The latest is that he's now in an open marriage and he's had sexual misconduct going after women in Alaska. Not here in Kansas, but in Alaska, where he has the residency as well. So, again, the latest attack, does that do anything? Does that actually help their agenda? Does that deter Republicans? I don't think it does. And you're right. I mean, you might want to attack based on policy, not based on character, Democrats, because that might actually have a little bit more of an impact. I don't want to give you any tools or anything, but use your head just once. What do you think? Line number 4, let's go back to the phones. Good morning. What's your name?
This is Ray.
Ray, what's going on, sir? How are you?
Oh, nothing much. On this being a brownbacker and all these lower taxes and stuff that were so terrible. If you remember, Huelskamp lost because he didn't defend his vote in Congress on that ag bill.
Sure.
All we got from him was
the personal attack.
Yeah.
Yep.
But all we got from Huelskamp was pictures of him standing in a wheat field and him standing with his family.
Right.
While he was running again. Well, he didn't defend himself. Now, Bach comes along and he says, I like lower taxes, and the Democrats say it didn't work, but Kobach doesn't finish the thought and say, well, maybe it didn't work, but it didn't work because you guys didn't cut spending.
Mm-hmm.
And he never points that out. And if he doesn't, I think he may end up like Huelskamp.
Well, I think he is pointing that out. He's done that since the primary. That's what won him, I think, the primary election, was the fact that, yeah, you know what, I'm not a brownbacker because, yeah, he did right doing some tax cuts, which was nice, but we didn't take it the next step, which was cutting the spending. And that's been his whole campaign, is we're going to cut the spending. We're going to give you back your tax money. And, oh, by the way, the Trump tax cut windfall that the state received, the state held on to it instead of giving it back to you. And we're going to give that back to you now, too, because we need to balance the budget and be able to actually reflect the state spending based on what the tax revenues are actually coming in as, so that way we don't spend out of control. And he's tried to distance himself from that. Whether it's working or not is up in the air. But
well, he shouldn't distance himself from it. He should fight and tell people that, hey, this would have worked if they'd have cut spending. And I don't need more of him standing with his family, or him standing in a wheat field, or him telling all this other stuff. I get down in the mud and show them that they're full of it.
Sure. Well, that's a great point, Ray. I appreciate that very much. Speaking of the whole Brownback attack, I just got a text in the last half hour from one of the state reps, and there's a mailer that just went out that showed this rep as looking like a puppet with the strings attached and everything, and Brownback being up at the top being the puppet master. And it says, we don't need a Brownback puppet in Topeka. Cut the strings and let's move beyond Brownback. They're still going after Brownback with Chris Kobach, with the state legislature, that they are now the puppets of Sam Brownback, and it's time to cut the strings from the Brownback puppets, and it's time to move beyond Brownback, and Brownback's such a terrible, evil, horrible human being. Look, if that's all the attacks you have, you're going to lose sorely. I may be wrong, but Brownback's not on the ballot this year anywhere. Although, if you listen to the Democrats, he's running for governor, he's running for the legislature, he's running for the Secretary of State, he's running for our congressional seats, he's running just everywhere, because Brownback, your worst enemy, he's in the shadows, he's lurking, he's everywhere. Got to take a break. 7 minutes at the top of the hour. This is The Voice of Reason.
This is The Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier. Opening markets on KQAM, brought to you by Schmidt & Sons of Mount Hope and Winfield.
Higher in the livestock and higher in the grains and soybeans going to start Monday that way. Let's check the ag futures markets. Brady Charles at Schwederman Incorporated has all the information. Pretty good start, Brady.
Yes, it is. A little bit higher in the grains here, and a good start to the livestock after some good follow-through after cash trade last week. October live cattle are up 42 at 114.30. December's up 32 at 118.70. February's up 7 cents at 123.50. November feeders are up 60 at 155.40. January's up 62 at 150.32. March is up 60 at 148.42. December lean hogs are up $1.05 at 58.97. In the grain markets, December Kansas City wheat's up a penny and 3/4 at 5.02. March is up a penny and a half at 5.28 1/4. July's up a penny at 5.50. December Chicago's up 1 3/4 at 5.06 3/4. July's down 3/4 at 5.42 3/4. December spring wheat's up 3 3/4 at 5.81 1/2. In the corn, December's up a penny at 3.68 3/4. March up a penny at 3.81. July up 1/4 cent at 3.94. November beans are up 1 1/2 at 8.46 1/2. January's up 2 at 8.59 3/4. March is up 2 at 8.73. December bean oil's up 3 at 28.19. And the meal is up 210 at 309.40. And the Dow Jones is currently trading up 235 points at 24,928. This has been Brady Charles from Sweeterman Incorporated. For questions on these markets, any other markets, and all your marketing needs, please give us a call at 800-272-9131 or visit us online at upthelimit.com.
Are you ready to maximize your uptime in the field and save 15% while doing it? This is Leroy the Tractor Man from Schmidt & Sons, offering big savings and special discounts until December 31st on all AGCO PM360 maintenance plans. Bring your equipment into Schmidt & Sons for an AGCO PM360 inspection, inspected by our factory-trained certified technicians, and you will receive peace of mind knowing your equipment will operate at peak performance, minimizing costly repairs, increasing uptime, and improving your trade-in value. Plus, repairs done in our service department entitle you to 1-year warranty on parts and 6 months warranty on labor. Right now, the deal is even sweeter because with your inspection, not only can you receive up to 15% off on AGCO parts, with approved credit, you can receive 0% interest and no payments for 180 days on repairs of $1,000 or more. Give us a call at either the Mount Hope or Winfield location to sign up for the AGCO PM360 maintenance inspection and get the peace of mind you need and deserve all season long. Or find us on the web at schminink.com.
Just about 3 minutes at the top of the hour. Welcome back into it. Let's try and sneak in a few more calls as we wrap up the program today on a Wednesday. We have just about a candidate every day this week, the rest of the week going into Election Day. Monday may be a special program as well. More details coming up on that here very soon. But let's go back to it here. Line number 1. Good morning. What's your name?
Eric, how are you, Jay?
I'm doing great, sir. How you doing?
Great. So we just want to make the government bigger and have another agency by gambling. Why don't we just make it a free market thing and let it go?
Right.
And then we just collect taxes off the profits that they make and the employees they have. We do all this because we want the government to run everything because we're Republicans in this. Dummy. We just want the government, big government Republicans. That's what we are.
Government. No, you're right. I'm right there with you. I don't think it's going to happen that way, but I would prefer to see it that. You're right. Legalize it for the private sector, for whether it's a casino, whether it is a business that wants to start up and be like, hey, I'm going to do an online gambling site or whatever, privatize it all, and then just collect a little bit of the tax receipt from it if you do a small tax percentage on top. That's the proper way to do it, but you know that's not going to happen, that we're going to come in and say.
Well, we know it won't.
Yeah, I mean.
Nothing's legal. Everything's legal as long as the government runs it. Look at the casino. There's only 3 buildings in Kansas you can smoke inside.
Right.
They're owned by the state.
Yeah, but remember, we got to ban it. We got to ban the private businesses from allowing to smoke inside. You're exactly right. We seem to be a red state, but a red state that likes big government for some reason, and I don't quite grasp it or understand that yet. But absolutely, yeah, if it's going to happen in Kansas, it's probably going to happen with a gaming commission in Kansas, and they're going to sanction it all, and they're going to regulate it all, and then we just go to the government to do our gambling, and that's about the best that it's going to get. I would like to see a private option, but it's probably not going to happen.
You sound like a libertarian, Andy. You sound like a libertarian.
Hey, you know what? I got those libertarian flavors to me, my friend. Don't you worry. I love it. Appreciate the call very much. Wrapping up today. Had some other calls. Sorry we didn't get to you today. Call back tomorrow. We got lots more coming up. It is midterms. This is our high life, baby. This is our Super Bowl, and it's going on for weeks. We're loving it. This is your show. It's time to speak up, speak out, speak loud, speak proud, speak the truth, and always speak some reason. This is the voice of reason. Everybody have a wonderful Monday.
Speak.
John Sidoric shares the advantages of having an aircraft maintenance partnership with JD Aviation Services.
We can go from simple stuff, changing oil, changing tires, annual inspection, all the way to rebuild a complete engine, replace sheet metal, treat corrosion, whatever's needed. We're a little further out, it's a lot less expensive. My overhead allows me to pass on some of those savings to our clients because I don't have as high an hourly rate.
Find out more about JD Aviation Services at iflyaugusta.com.
More than 345,000 Kansans care for a parent, spouse, or loved one, helping them live independently at home. A new state law called Kansas Lay Caregiver Act supports these caregivers. Kansans can now designate a caregiver when they're admitted to a hospital. That caregiver is informed when their loved one is discharged. Hospitals must give the caregiver an explanation and demonstration of the medical tasks they'll need to perform at home. Learn more at aarp.org/KS. Paid for by AARP.
Broadcasting from the Rusty Eck Ford Studios. Rusty Eck Ford, the price you need and the service you deserve. This is the Big Talker, 102.5 FM and 1480 AM, KQAM, Wichita Proud. It's time for your latest news from the KQAM News Center. Brought to you by Kennedy Tire and Auto Care Center, 3250 West 13th Street. Locally owned and operated. Now you have a friend in the tire business. Kennedy Tire and Auto Care Center.
Good Monday. Authorities say a man died from an early Sunday morning shooting in Hayesville. The report of possible gunshots came in around 1:45 Sunday, and responding officers say they found a large crowd leaving a party at a local venue after a fight broke out. Officers located